There's Wyandotte County. All right, everyone. Sorry, we're starting slightly. Yeah, you heard me. I called you. Very well. We are 6 minutes late. I apologize. We had a late running closed session earlier. We'll now convene today's April 21st open session for the City Council. This is our only meeting in April, so we've got a little bit of a dense agenda because we did not have one earlier for the spring break. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Keldorf. Here. Councilmember Giroux.
Here.
Councilmember Boyles.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Baldino.
Here.
And Mayor Pimentel.
Here. And for our invocation, we have Father Alexi Smith from the St. Andrew's Russian Greek Catholic Church. And that'll be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Councilmember Giroux. If you would all please rise for the invocation. Father Alexi.
Thank you, Your Honor. Let us pray. Faithful companion and living presence, you never tire of coming to meet us. Here we are, in need of your peace. We live in times of fear and division. Sometimes we act as if we were alone, building walls that separate us from one another, forgetting that we're brothers and sisters. Send us your Spirit, O Lord, to rekindle within us the desire to understand one another, to listen, to live together with respect and compassion. Give us the courage to seek paths of dialogue, to respond to conflict with gestures of fraternity, to open our hearts to others without fear of differences. Make us builders of bridges, able to overcome borders and ideologies. Enable us to see others through the eyes of the heart, recognizing in every person an intrinsic dignity. Help us create spaces where hope can flourish, where diversity is not a threat, but a richness that makes us more human. Amen.
Father Alexi, thank you very much. Councilmember Drew, thank you. And now we have 5 special presentations to begin. We will start with the PTA Council Run for Education.
Okay, I am happy to read this proclamation by the City of El Segundo, California. Whereas the Kiwanis El Segundo PTA Run for Education was established 34 years ago to create a healthy and fun day for the community to come together to support public education, and whereas the Kiwanis El Segundo PTA Run for Education is hosted by the El Segundo Council of PTAs, benefiting students attending all public schools in the district. The Run for Education has developed into the Council of PTA's largest fundraiser, welcoming over 1,500 participants from the community and surrounding areas to the streets of El Segundo to run, jog, or walk the USA Track and Field certified 5K or 10K course, or kids' fun runs through our town. And whereas the funds raised from this event are used to support a wide range of students' needs, including technology requests, physical education equipment, departmental supplies, and college and career preparation programs, providing for unique student experiences, as well as supporting district parent education programs. And whereas community support is of the utmost importance with this event, relying on the El Segundo Police Department, City of El Segundo, parents from all of our schools, high school student volunteers, local businesses, and community members. And whereas community partners play a critical role in the success of this event. We are fortunate to have Kiwanis El Segundo as the title sponsor of the run, along with presenting sponsor Chevron, as well as the support of many local businesses who sponsor or participate in the event's Run Expo and Show Your Shirt and Save promotion. And whereas the goal of the El Segundo Council PTA is to positively impact the lives of children and families, serving its members and its community by providing opportunities and experiences to make El Segundo School District the best it can be. Now, therefore, the mayor and members of the City Council of the City of El Segundo, California, hereby proclaim April 25th, 2026 as Kiwanis El Segundo PTA Run for Education Day in El Segundo and encourage all citizens to take part in the 34th annual run. Here to accept this proclamation is Jim Fenton, our race director. If you want to come on up and say a few words.
Thank you very much, Mayor, Council. On behalf of the PTA Council, I think we can get some help up here. Don't leave me alone. Cheryl's the PTA president. She's in charge if things go south. And then Mark Prince as well, who's volunteered in the run, Raised Kids in El Segundo, 16 years now with the run. And we're very grateful for the support of the city. We could not do it without the tremendous support of the city, the police department, fire department, Parks and Rec, yourselves, and others. So we appreciate all that goes into the investment that the community makes to make this run such a success. So yes, it is a fundraiser for the PTA, but it really has become one of the city's main events for the entire year. So when people think of Mayberry and El Segundo, you come out to the run, and hopefully everyone has been out there. I see one run shirt out there. We know there's a couple. It's such an incredible environment. So it's more than a fundraiser. It's a community event that brings out the good in all of the city. So if I may approach, I do have a shirt. And this year, if I may, very quickly, to present, we have come up with the second option for finishers medals this year, thanks to Mark Prince, that as an option to getting a finishers medal for the first 500 or there so runners will receive a finisher's mug in its place. I like a couple of oohs and ahs. So for the city council members, if you'd like, I approach and give you your option of a shirt or a mug very quickly.
Sure, please do.
Yes, is that okay?
That's as close as I'll get to finishing.
I love a mug. Thank you. Yeah.
And as Jim is doing that, I just wanted to echo the sentiment that we could not do this without the partnership of the city, so thank you all very much. Jim did leave out one very important team that I wanted to recognize, and that would be Elias Sassoon and the Public Works Department. They work so hard to make sure that all the signs are up and that people are notified, and I know there's so many other people that go into it with the whole notifications and everything. So thank you all so much for your support. We could not do it without your partnership. So thank you.
Oh, photo.
And this is the shirt. This is our new shirt. So Cheryl has.
This is the shirt for the old last year.
That was the new.
We get Lieutenant Colonel balance on this side. There we go. I get everybody here. All right, here we go. Couple photos. 1, 2. Thank you so much.
With the newly promoted Lieutenant Colonel McLean back there. McCain, excuse me. Snuck right in.
It's the
I hope you get to mine or man a barricade at the Run for Education, which is the new guy hazing. All right, Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month proclamation.
Yes, my honor, Mr. Mayor. Okay. Whereas Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month is observed nationwide throughout the month of May in recognition of the positive influence and numerous contributions of our Asian American Pacific Islander community to our state and to our country. And whereas Asian American and Pacific Islander visit, work, and live in El Segundo and have contributed to our city's rich history, culture, economy, and public service, and whereas we are reminded that we must celebrate our diversity and our differences as they make us a richer community, and we celebrate the importance of inclusion to building a more diverse, equitable, and inclusive future for El Segundo. And whereas we recognize and confront racism and hate of all kinds against Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders, and recognize the structural discrimination, prejudice, and injustice experienced by the AAPI community, and the increased levels of harassment, discrimination, and violence perpetrated on the AAPI community due to bigotry. Now, therefore, on this 21st day of April 2025, the mayor and members of the City Council do hereby proclaim the month of May 2026 as Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month, and urge the community to join the celebration of the AAPI Heritage Month. And we have accepting this, Christabel. Hi, Christabel.
All right, good evening, everyone. Good evening. So my deepest thanks to the City Council for once again recognizing Asian American and Pacific Islander, or AAPI Heritage Month. And thank you for the opportunity to accept this proclamation as a 12-year resident and also as current chair of your El Segundo Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee. So the AAPI community remains the fastest growing racial group here in the U.S. and accounts for approximately 1 in 10 El Segundo residents. We've also been here for generations. So with the first Asians that were documented in the Americas right here in California in 1587. And like most of us, or all of us, I am a child of immigrants. My mother was an ICU nurse for 35 years in San Diego. My dad was retired, well, he's retired now, but a U.S. Navy hospital corpsman, and he served our country, including in Desert Shield, Desert Storm, and Somalia. So, also like many of us, I owe a great deal to those who came before and to those who continue to battle it out today. Those who are excluded, silenced, imprisoned, those who fought for equal rights, equity, and inclusion, those who have been overlooked or dismissed, who've earned recognition and deserve respect. I stand here today, and we all can come together safely and in solidarity because of those that have fought for where we are now. So thank you again for allowing us to acknowledge and celebrate one of the many communities who contribute to El Segundo. Thanks again.
Whereas the City of El Segundo designates April as Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and Peace Over Violence has declared April 29th, 2026 as Denim Day in Los Angeles County. And whereas both events are intended to draw attention to the fact that sexual violence remains a serious issue in our society, and whereas more than 20 years ago, a 40-year-old driving instructor was convicted of sexually assaulting a teenage girl in Italy, the Italian Supreme Court overturned that conviction based on the legal theory that the girl must have consented to the assault because she was wearing tight jeans. And her tight jeans could only have been removed if she consented to sex. And whereas harmful attitudes about sexual violence allow these issues to persist and allow victims and survivors to be re-victimized, and whereas Sexual Assault Awareness Month and Denim Day were also instituted to call attention to the misconceptions and misinformation about sexual violence, and the problem that many in society remain disturbingly uninformed with respect to issues of sexual harassment, assault, abuse, and rape. And whereas, with proper education on the matter and comprehensive prevention projects, sexual violence and its unfair and traumatizing effects are preventable. And whereas the members of the City Council strongly support the efforts of Peace Over Violence to educate our community about the true impact of sexual harassment, abuse, assault, and rape in Southern California. Now, therefore, the mayor and members of the City Council of the City of El Segundo, California, do hereby proclaim the month of April 2026 as Sexual Assault Awareness Month and designate April 29th, 2026 as Denim Day, and urge everyone to wear jeans on April 29th to help communicate the message that wearing jeans is no excuse and never an invitation to harass, abuse, assault, or rape. There is no one here to accept the proclamation. We will accept it on their behalf. And now for Municipal Clerk Week Proclamation.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Whereas the office of the professional municipal clerk, a time-honored and vital part of local government, exists throughout the world, And whereas the office of the professional municipal clerk is the oldest among public servants, and whereas the office of the professional municipal clerk provides a professional link between the citizens, the local governing bodies, and agencies of government at other levels, and whereas professional municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all, and whereas the professional municipal clerk serves as the information center on functions of local government and community, and whereas professional municipal clerk continually strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the office of the professional municipal clerk through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and the annual meeting of their state, provincial, county, and international professional organizations. And whereas it is most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments of the office of the professional municipal clerk. Now therefore, on this 21st day of April 2026, the mayor and members of the city council do hereby proclaim May 3rd through May 9th, 2026 as Professional Municipal Clerk Week in El Segundo, and further extend appreciation to our professional municipal clerk, Susan Truax, elected official, Assistant City Clerk Lily Sandoval, Patricia Harada, is she here? Saw her earlier. Where is she? Oh, great. Hi, Patricia. Thank you. Records technician, and to all professional municipal clerks for the vital service they perform and their exemplary dedication to the communities they represent. Thank you very much. And I think all three of you are accepting this, right? Susan Truax, Lily Sandoval, and Patricia Harada. Yeah.
All right, Councilmember Giroux for the final proclamation.
All right. Whereas April is a month dedicated to raising awareness for several causes that are critically important to the health, well-being, and resilience of all those who call our city home, from our permanent residents to military members and their families. And whereas April is designated as Sexual Assault Awareness and Prevention Month, a call to action for every member of our community to intervene, support survivors, and foster a culture of dignity and respect, free from sexual assault and harassment. And whereas April is recognized as National Child Abuse Prevention Month, a time to emphasize the vital role of families and communities in protecting our children from harm. And whereas April is the month of the military child, a time to honor the resilience, adaptability, and unique challenges that children of service members face. And whereas April is Autism Acceptance Month, a time to move beyond awareness to a deeper appreciation for the diverse experiences and contributions of autistic individuals. Now, therefore, the mayor and members of the City Council of the City of El Segundo, California hereby proclaim the month of April as Awareness Month in the City of El Segundo and call upon the members of our community to join in the observance of these important causes. Let us all take this opportunity to educate ourselves, support one another, and continue building a stronger, safer, and more inclusive community for all. And accepting the April Awareness Month proclamation is Colonel Andrew Dermanowski, LA Air Force Base.
Thank you all for that today. I'm going to straighten that up a little bit more. So we actually have some military children here who are part of that. And then I have my SARC here, my Sexual Awareness Response Coordinator, Captain Knipp, who did a lot of this legwork for us and starting to continue to strengthen the bond between the Air Force Base and the El Segundo community. And, you know, we're part of the community, we're here. And I deeply appreciate all the support that we get from everybody every single day, and to include a proclamation for this month of April with many awarenesses.
Thank you.
All right.
Oh, look at that. You get to hold that. That's awesome. Here we go. And one more. Thank you, guys.
Madam Clerk, what do we got?
Mayor, we have 12 public speakers this evening, a few of whom are on an agendized item.
How many are on the agenda item? Do you know?
3 or 4.
3. I think we go 4 minutes each on the agendized and 3 minutes on the non, right? Is that my math right?
We're gonna have enough time for that.
12. 9. Are any on the public hearing that'll go?
Yes, 1.
Oh, one's on the public hearing. Okay,
No,
so,
that's not counted in this.
oh, there's an addition, bonus round. Okay.
Do you want to do these in the order they were received, or do you want to pull out the agendized item?
No, we'll go in the order they're received, though I'm doing my math here on the 30-minute limit. So there's a total of 12, so actually 3, 9. That's Kansas math. So it's going to be 3 minutes each on agendized items, 2 minutes each on non-agendized.
Okay.
That's that Wichita math. Wyandotte County with the Kansas City hazing me.
All right, okay. We good to go?
Ready for you.
William Hodgman.
Honorable Mayor, honorable City Council members, I last appeared before you about a month ago on March 17th. The issue at hand was the urgent need for increased and enhanced electric power to the condominium complex at 123 East Oak Avenue, just across the street and north of the high school. Per the recommendation, I believe, of Mr. George, we had a meeting with Michael Allen the very next day, March 18th. At that meeting, Michael Woodward, also an owner at the condominium complex, and I presented a PowerPoint presentation to Mr. Allen, highlighted many of the arguments about the urgent need to have enhanced power there. In essence, the building, the complex there is an old complex. It has inadequate power, and as Mr. Woodward will explain a little bit later, he'll give you some of the more kind of engineering details involved. At any rate, we pointed out in our PowerPoint presentation that complex buildings within a stone's throw of 123 East Oak Avenue had the type of power transformer in the front offset of the complex. One is located at 950 Main Street, and one is located at 815 Main Street. Both on Main Street, obviously a more traveled thoroughfare through El Segundo. We're on Oak Avenue, we're across the street from the high school. There's no residents across the street that would look towards us. The reason why this is important is in our meeting with Mr. Allen, he said, in essence, he said he was a defender of the city code and that aesthetics was the reason for not approving the transformer in the outset on the front of our building.
Mr. Hodgman, you're at time.
Okay, very good.
No, I'm sorry, you're not allowed to do that.
Okay.
Janet Hodgman.
Hello, Mayor and council members. It's good to see you again. I hope some of you saw the Herald article, and I thought they did a good job stating some of the issues that I think you're going to remember. We left here feeling very positive. We've been encouraged by other people that it seems like the council is concerned and is engaged and wants the right things to happen. So my background is as a court reporter in all kinds of city council and large trials, Santa Monica, Riot Control, that kind of thing. We often get calls from people when they have problems, and we tell them the law makes sense. The law can be dealt with. You just have to give people, the magistrate, the information that they need. The right thing usually happens. And we hope you're with us, but we do need your help. And I think you heard me last time. We do need to know how to get on the agenda. We're told that individuals cannot get on the agenda, but we're Oak Park Condominiums Association. We have a management company. We think we will be able to make a more comprehensive presentation to you, perhaps. And if anybody talks to us today and they can tell us some steps so we can work with you and get this power, I'm not sure, but I think it's worth close to $50,000 for every single resident, and temperatures not too long ago were up to 72 degrees inside the house. If we get the RSI windows and close them, it's really hot inside. I don't think you need to fear the precedent. We cannot be seen from Main Street because of a large hedge right there. And the other houses, single-family houses, the old ones have 100, the newer ones have 200. They have plenty. We are at 16.6 per unit. I'm sure there are other things. We want to be able to tell you all the beautiful skins. We'll put El Segundo information on there. We can have it
Ms.
like
Hodgman, I'm sorry, you're
actually,
at time.
yes, we can have it actually camouflage right into the building. Thank you for your time.
Bob Sestilli?
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council and executive team, thank you very much for the opportunity to be here to speak with you, as I did in a previous meeting. It's also about 123 East Oak Avenue. But first to tell you that my wife and I just came from Joslyn Center, and we're members of the Rec Center. We're also members of the Senior Club. Once again, a great opportunity that we've taken advantage of in El Segundo, and we really appreciate it. We appreciate everyone over there, Ryan and his whole team, and it's a great place, and we're there often. So now today, the message might be one of encouragement. Let me put it that way. It's that we're encouraged that potentially we could be a regular agenda item for the City Council. We've heard and we appreciate what Janet and Bill have to say and what they've done for us, and also Michael Woodworth, who was at the last meeting. They've been doing a lot of work, including the HOA at our condo building, and being very supportive, which has given us a lot of encouragement. We're also encouraged to hear that perhaps Community Development Director Michael Allen and SoCal Edison may get together to try to resolve something. That would be fantastic. And if there's any opportunity for us to be able to attend any of those kinds of meetings, we'd like to express our opinion there too. So thank you. It's mainly a message tonight of encouragement for opportunities that we have in El Segundo that we're so happy with, and we're grateful to everyone for all the opportunity you've given us to speak here tonight also. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Tracy Miller Zarnicki.
All right. Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, councilpersons, and everyone in the room. My name is Tracy Miller Zarnicki. I currently serve as the chair of our city's environmental committee. The city's environmental committee. First of all, I want to take a brief moment to offer gratitude for the Poetry and Nature Walk that the city hosted this last Saturday, bringing together the El Segundo Blue Butterfly Conservancy and our poet laureate, Kwiku Abimbola, to inspire residents at the Imperial Hillside. It was a great way to blend National Poetry Month and kick off Earth Week in an environmentally meaningful place. Secondly, I'm here on behalf of the whole committee to invite everyone to join us this week for Earth Week at the Farmers Market. We are having our annual booth there where we invite people to come and talk about green changes they might make. And we'll be there alongside the El Segundo Blue Butterfly Conservancy, which will educate visitors of all ages about our little insect friend. We'll also, I think, be propagating Seacliff buckwheat that we hope residents will plant around town. We'll also be joined by the COG that will share information on all kinds of local eco-minded programming, such as things that West Basin offers and the California Green Business Network. We'll invite kids to play games. We'll also just ask people to make one small green change for Earth Week. And since I know not everybody can stop by that booth, I'll just toss a few ideas out there into the ether for people to consider, like avoid buying single-use food and beverage containers as much as possible. Bring you reusable containers. Use that cool filling station. I see you. I see you. Bring these. Use that filling station. We have them all over the parks now. We have them at all.
This isn't mine.
I don't know how it got there. I have nothing to do with that. We have them at all our school campuses now too. So they're all over town. Bring them. Use them. Fix old clothing before buying new. Follow what the kids are doing now and buy vintage.
Chair, you are at time.
I am out of time. Well, thank you. Hope to see you out there for Earth Week.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, this is an agendized item, so we'll do 3 minutes. Cheryl Smith, please.
Hello, my name is Cheryl Smith. I am a resident. I'm here with just a resident of El Segundo, and I just wanted to say thank you so much. We are so excited. Thank you for the permit, which, not to burst the surprise, but Elias is going to recommend that the permit on Kansas and Washington, and in that general area, Zone 3, I think it's called, goes into permanent effect. Thank you so much for making this happen. We appreciate his staff for going out there and doing all the research, and for Elias for making this recommendation. So thank you for making this possible. It has made our streets so much safer, and we are truly appreciative. So thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Ms. Smith.
McKenna Wilson. She also will have 3 minutes.
McKenna Wilson, also a resident. I live right over there. This lady just came up. I very much like the permit in the zone. It's very nice. I would like to inquire about a correction per se. I live right on Illinois, right next to Freedom Park, and you have to have a permit to put in your car, and that's great. If you only have 2 friends. I have multiple friends, and I don't know about you guys, but my family stays longer than 2 hours. The rule is you only have 2 hours to hang out. And I would like that amended. It also has 3 signs on my street where it's street sweeping, permit parking, only 2 hours. It's very confusing. It reminds me of Santa Monica, which I do not like going down there. So I would recommend that the permit says only no overnight parking. Therefore, some of my friends have already received tickets on my street because they were there longer than 2 hours. So I would recommend that is the reason to change it to that kind of idea, just because it would be nice to have friends over who I don't have to worry about putting in a permit, and they can park on the street and all that lovely stuff. And I know the whole reason behind it was to make sure that all the people at LAX don't park on our streets and park overnight and get free parking along those lines. So my recommendation is to change it to no overnight parking, and just to make it so I can actually not have to shuffle around all of my family members and all that lovely stuff. But I appreciate you guys taking the time to listen, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Wilson.
All righty, I would like to invite Jason Johnson, ESUSD Superintendent, and I'm sorry, but you get 2 minutes.
Yeah, no problem. I'll be quicker. Mr. Mayor, members of council, Madam Clerk, Daryl. Tonight, I'd like to thank you all for lending us your city council chambers. It's not all about tennis courts. You literally gave us the chairs off your back, so thank you. I just really have appreciated over the last 2 years working with the city. You guys have been just absolutely fantastic. It's a great partnership. I really like my working relationship with Daryl and the city. And we are here to say thank you. I am here and joined by Tracy Miller-Zarnicki, Frank Glenn, and Meredith Beachley, our board members, and we just really wanted to show our appreciation and the continued partnership that we have. We don't come empty-handed, so as you know, I like giving gifts. So for our elected officials.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Nobody ever remembers that.
Can't just get this off the shelves, people. So, very much appreciate it. And then I would also like to take a moment to acknowledge the video staff. That's Egadio DeLu, Adrian Brown, Andy Jackson, Darnell Jenksons, the media supervisor. We really appreciate their work. They were here at night helping us out, and we have hats for them as well too. And thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent Johnson.
Okay. Melissa McCaffrey? Is that- Oh, thank you.
Hi, this is on. I'm Melissa McCaffrey, and I'm a longtime resident of 123 East Oak Avenue. I reside on the 3rd floor, and fortunately for our building, and unfortunately, there is nothing blocking the sound from the airport. And because of that, we have to close our windows. And during the summer, it is 86 degrees in my living room. So you can just imagine how hot it is at night. I can't open the window at night because the sound from the airport is coming straight into the master bedroom. Now, I'm trying to build off of Mr. Hodgman's argument, which is, why is it that aesthetics takes precedent over someone's safety and comfort? Safety in the sense of, right now, most of us are being forced to buy the portable AC units, and they suck up a lot of energy. Okay, and my concern is if everybody in the whole building, there's 2 rooms in each building, if just one unit each bought one portable AC and turned it on in the summer, and if it causes a fire, who will take responsibility? And also for the comfort of the people living there. We have elderly neighbors sleeping in, I don't know how hot in their units, but in my unit at night, the heat rises because I'm on the 3rd floor. So if it's 86 in the afternoon, it's hotter at night, and I can't sleep. So that's all I have to say. I really hope that you can consider our arguments and our safety and welfare, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. McCaffrey.
Okay, speaking on item 14, Paul Morrison. You do.
Paul Morrison, 421 Indiana Street. I was born in Mobridge, South Dakota. Just kidding. I've been an El Segundo resident for 30 years. I've lived in the same location, 421. And the preferred parking has been such a benefit for the people in our apartment building and for the other residents. They are residents of the city. They live, and some I'm sure work here. And you know, that you even considered this as a, you know, as a trial was really kind of you to consider that. And I could not understand if it were to be rescinded, to let other people from outside the city to use those spots, as was spoken earlier before, for the airport. Some people, kitty corner of the habit, don't pay their parking fees and like to park on those streets. So once again, thanks for giving us the opportunity to speak in favor of that and to thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Morrison.
Okay, Phelan Archuleta. Three minutes.
Good evening, City Council members. Good evening, Mayor. Thank you for having us. My name is Phelan Archuleta, a resident at Zone 3 on Indiana Street. I'm also here to show my support, show my appreciation for enforcing the permit program. It's been really helpful dealing with our neighbors across the street. I hope to continue to see it in the future. I would like to also see some type of speed humps on our street as well. We have a lot of people that will speed down Indiana. We have a lot of people that will speed down Mariposa trying to get to the light, completely ignoring pedestrians that try to cross at the 2 crosswalks that are over there. So just something that can hopefully make it a bit safer. I would like to see that. I mean, ideally would be illuminated crosswalks, but I understand that that is a expensive solution. So hopefully something that can improvement. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Archuleta.
Michael Woodworth, 2 minutes.
All right, hello again, Mayor, City Council. I think this is my third time here, fifth time at City Hall on this issue, also at 123 East Oak Avenue. And as recommended after our last City Council meeting, we did meet with Michael Allen as recommended, as Bill said. And the answer we got from him was to ask the electric company about undergrounding. And he also told us, kind of in the same breath, they're not going to do it. So one, why are we being asked to ask the company to underground it when he knows it's not going to happen? And two, he provided us a document, and part of this document from SCE says that the minimum timeline for undergrounding a box is 2 years, and it could be up to 7 years. We have 1 year to get these improvements done. And as everybody else is saying, it seems like it's down to a matter of aesthetics. An alternative that was offered was mini splits. They're less energy efficient. So installing these units would be about the same amount of electrical needs. So we'd still need upgrades. And during this process in the past few weeks, we also asked Mr. Allen if he could set up a meeting with SCE since he has contacts, and that hasn't happened. So we're asking for help from the city because we are on a timeline. We have tons of people waiting for this. We were promised this in sales. And per Edison, we meet the requirements. It's a city thing that's holding us back. And it feels very unjust when you look at all the other boxes around the city. We're not trying to put it on the curb. It'll be safe, it'll be unseen basically, and we're willing to do any amount of screening that the city wants. And meanwhile, in the past month, right next door to us, there's identical buildings. We've got 4, they've got 2. They're installing windows and AC as we speak. So you can imagine that it's, as another resident said, I'm on a south-facing 3rd floor, 86 degrees overnight. I can second that. And so, yeah, we just really need some help here. Someone to strongly advocate for us so we can get this upgrade that's worth over $1 million for our community.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Our last speaker this evening is Bridget Thomas. Bridget? Oh, thank you.
Hello, my name is Bridget Thomas, and I'm here also to join in the fight regarding the electrical transformers that are required. Our apartment building is comprised of 23 households, including 53 individuals and many young children included. Our property is in very close proximity to the airport, and with that, we are highly affected by the noise and the pollution. We have the space on our property to house the transformer, again, to meet any requirements that the city would require to make it more aesthetically pleasing. We also would like to be able to join in the program as all other El Segundo residents have been able to. And I think that the city should definitely consider resident safety and health over aesthetics. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Thomas. That's everybody? City Manager.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. The speakers regarding the power situation at 123 East Oak Avenue, I mean, I don't want to speak for Michael. I know, obviously he'll come up, but I know he's been working to coordinate that meeting between the tenants and SCE. So why don't I just turn it over to you, Michael, on the status of that.
Thank you, Daryl.
Director Allen, before you go,
Yes.
I think that I will do a service for Madam Clerk, Council, because it's not agendized. We can't ask him questions this time. We wouldn't declare, we got in clerk jail last time.
I'll squeeze it in under 2 minutes as well. Just to update the council, since the last meeting on March 18th, I did meet with a couple of representatives from the board And although several recommendations or different alternatives were discussed, the primary outcome from that was facilitating a meeting with SCE. I originally had asked the residents, I thought they had connections with SCE, but we found out that the primary contact was through a LAWA representative. So those residents asked me if I could broker the meeting. I've reached out to SCE. We've traded a few emails trying to hammer out a couple dates between spring breaks and vacations. We're looking at probably mid-May, but I still haven't locked down when that meeting is. So that's kind of where we're at, is I'm trying to broker this meeting to sit down with SCE and the representatives of the complex, if they'd like to join, to sort out what options there are. And so that's kind of where we're at.
Not a question, but Diane Fort is back as our rep. And I know that they had changed over that position because she just got back on Thursday and became our rep again. So
I'll loop
if
her
we
in.
need to enlist her as our government affairs representative over there,
Currently, I'm talking to the boots on the ground, but I'll definitely loop in Diane.
I think she may be helpful just in terms of having two different points of access.
Definitely. So that's kind of where we're at.
So I'm going to not frame this as a question somehow. Several of the comments mentioned that, and maybe I'm mishearing, but that the majority of the holdup is over aesthetics. Can you please comment on that? Oh, I said please comment. But I'm sorry.
an
when-
interesting
Look, I'm
comment.
sorry, when 4 people mention something, there has to be some clarification. So you can put me in jail if you want, but that's what it is.
Setbacks.
What we may benefit from for a non-agendized item is a 1-minute summary of how LAWA demands power from SCE. SCE brings power and how that impacts our ability to use that building. Just give us a summary. You don't have to opine. Just a quick summary on the process.
And so in this scenario with the properties that are taking advantage of the RSI program, Residential Sound Installation Program, the new windows, new doors, new insulation, et cetera, trigger a Title 24 compliance mechanism, which requires air circulation or air handling. The easiest example I can give is when you go into your laundry room or a closed bathroom and you have to flip the switch and the fan goes on to exhaust the space that is otherwise not ventilated. So the Title 24 requirement that it's triggered is related to air circulation, air handling, and ventilation. One of the eligible expenditures or costs that LAWA will fund as part of that agreement with the city is HVAC, or heating and air conditioning units. And so that is frequently an elected option that our residents choose. In this scenario, because of the number of residents that are participating in the program at this complex, the increased power of demand that SCE has to provide at this complex to support the HVACs for each unit triggers the demand or need for a transformer specifically for that property. And so there are location challenges, there's siting challenges at this particular location, among a couple other in the city. And so that's the very high level summary. The challenge is that there are SCE required, or Southern California Edison required parameters around the location, setbacks, distance, and location on the property. There are also local jurisdiction requirements like setbacks, and in this case, the front yard setback. So the first 15 feet of the property cannot have any built structures or mechanical equipment. One of the only locations, or one of the easiest locations that SCE is looking at this property is within that front yard setback.
Thank you, Director Allen. And City Manager, I may opine to you that in our one-on-ones this coming week, we may all benefit from a deeper dive into this, so we may more
Yes.
fully understand the issue.
Agreed, thank you. I'll make sure.
And can I ask on this before we leave this issue? City Attorney, this is a backgroundy question for us. Once a year, we get unhappy people who have been sold a bill of goods to buy a property. Do they have any recourse with the county on sales that don't fully disclose these sorts of issues with an item? Maybe we could tell the.
Might be a private matter that they could look into.
Yeah, but sometimes there's no transactional, like, there's no.
You're talking about like
convenience-
disclosure.
Yeah, disclosure, like, who do they appeal that to? If my realtor sold me $1 million condo with an expectation that I was gonna get air conditioning and there are all these problems with it, I'd be pretty unhappy too.
Sure, yeah, seems like contact a lawyer, talk about their legal rights.
Well, you are one, so I thought I was gonna ask.
Yeah,
I mean, I did.
They can,
Quite-
Mr. Mayor.
May I follow that up with a procedural question to Mr. King?
Please do.
Given it's a setback issue, given that's code, would this be something that would be agendized on a city council agenda, or would it actually be a planning commission item?
Mr. Mayor, members of the city council, it depends on the nature of it. If it's just a discussion item, it could go to the council. If you're actually talking about changing the code, it would have to go through the planning commission first.
Very well. City Manager, further
Yes,
comments?
just finishing up on comments, even though Superintendent Johnson has left, I also want to thank him for his cooperation and the successes we've had between the city and the school district. So hopefully he'll get that message, and thank you for the cap. As for the other speakers that spoke on item 14, obviously the council will have a full discussion of that shortly. So please stick around for the feedback on that item. That was item 14 on the preferential parking zone item. That concludes my comments. Thank you, Mayor.
All right. May I have a procedural motion to read all ordinance and resolutions on the agenda by title only?
So moved.
I'll second.
Giroux on the first, Keldor for the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0. Are there any polls on the consent? And I would add that we have correction memos on some of these items on minor copy edits, and that has been submitted to the record.
Yes, that's correct, Mayor. I'd be happy to read those, but
Not required, just I
Okay.
wanted to highlight.
Perfect.
Any polls? I'm going to pull item 9. I promise it's only briefly, all right, could I have a motion to approve items 6, 7, 8, 10, and 11?
I'll move as amended.
Second.
Giroux on the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0. Okay, item 9, this is amendment to agreement number 5417 with Civic Plus LLC to add the Next Request software platform to support public records request processing. I only pulled this because I have a question on it. Did I read correctly that after the year 1 increase to $57,000, the total value of the contract is $12,000, the subscription? Does anyone know? Oh, sorry. Absolutely.
Council members? No, this is in addition to the contract for the Next Request portal to be added, the one that's currently being used by the police department. So it is in addition to.
So it's addition to for this year, but I thought I read in the staff report that it goes down to $12,000 for the following year. But that's not. It will stay at the.
Yes, that's.
So next year it goes all the way down to 12,000.
For that particular module, yes.
Oh, for that particular module. So it would be the 12,000 in addition to the 57 for the following years.
Yes, sir.
But it's a 1-year contract, correct? 1-year renewable.
No, I believe it's multi-year.
I highlighted this because given that we have an AI trial project, are some of the abilities that we are using to do public records act requests with this going to be things that we think artificial intelligence can subsume?
In the future, absolutely. Not currently.
Very well. And with that, I will move. Sorry.
I was told by the clerk's office if one of the items was pulled that did require a change, I was to read it.
Oh.
And it was just a very minor change. The staff report mentioned a fiscal year 25-26 budget, and it should have read 26-27
That's right.
budget. Just a clarification on this item.
Yeah, which item was that? Sorry.
9, item 9.
Oh, it is item 9. Yeah. So, well, perfect. Look at that. Nailed it. Blundering to victory. All right, with that, I will move approval of item 9, the amendment to agreement 5417 with Civic Plus LLC.
I'll second.
Baldino on the second. All in favor? Aye. All right, 5-0. Thank you, sir. Thank you. All right, before we do the public hearing, we're going to move up item 20 for the benefit of Madam Chair back there. The amended Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee bylaws to change regular meeting dates. Director Mancini, will you present on this item?
Yes. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and honorable members of the council. I'm here this evening as the staff liaison to the city's Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee. This group typically meets on the second Wednesday of the month. However, they have several new members, and they have identified that that date is not working well for several of them, and they have asked to amend the bylaws to change their meeting date to the first Wednesday of every month. And I am here to request that change so we can make the changes to the bylaws. That is required that it comes to the council and is approved by the council for them to move forward with that date change. That concludes my report.
Any council discussion? All right, I will move to adopt the amended DEI committee bylaws to change regular meeting dates to the first Wednesday of each month.
Thank you.
May I have a second?
I'll second.
Keldorf on the second. All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0. Look at that. Thank you.
Google Doodle. All right. They said something out about scheduling that meeting? Okay.
All right, we are back to item 13, which is our public hearing for the night.
Item 12?
Item 12, sorry.
Oh.
Math for Marines. All right. Madam Clerk, was the time and place here to, this is the time and place hereto fixed for a public hearing. Was the proper notice of the hearing given in a timely manner?
Yes.
Has any written communication been received regarding this public hearing?
No written communication has been received.
The public hearing is now open. Mr. George, who will make this presentation?
Our Assistant City Attorney will make that presentation.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. I know that this item has been in front of the City Council before, so I'll just do a quick recap. As the public might not know, there are two types of cities in California, general law cities and what are called charter cities, cities that have adopted what we call a charter, which acts sort of like a constitution. At the council's direction, we presented an item in March to ask the council if they have any interest in pursuing this process, which would allow the city of El Segundo to become a charter city. So the council and the public is aware. What this process requires is 2 public hearings before the city council. And if the council gives approval, then at your July meeting, it would be up for your vote to put on the ballot. Any charter would have to be approved by at least 50% of the voters of the city to become a charter city. In your staff report, we've identified the proposed charter, and then it's up to the city council as to what the content of the charter is. This is a public hearing, so the public has a right to speak on whether the city should be a charter city, and if so, what should be included in the charter. There are, legal restrictions on some of the topics, but I'm happy to answer questions. And with that, we can open the public hearing.
Thank you, City Attorney King. All right, the public hearing is now open for public input.
We have one speaker. How much time?
Please do.
How much time would you like?
Well, we can do 5 minutes,
Okey-dokey.
right? Because of the public hearing one, it's on its own.
Okay, Anya Goldstein.
Oh, 3 minutes then.
3 minutes, sorry. Anya Goldstein.
I think that was a joke.
Completely a joke. You're my neighbor.
Not a joke?
Don't egg my
it was-
house. 5 minutes.
Okay. Once more with feeling. Okay, here we go.
Okay, before I start, unfortunately, I have to leave right after my comment. I don't mean any disrespect. I will catch up later on YouTube, but I have a meeting that I'm already late for. I didn't realize this wouldn't be part of the regular public comment. My name is Anya Goldstein. I'm a resident of El Segundo, a homeowner, small business owner, and a member of a community action group here in town called Sea Change. I have a lot of concerns about the Charter City proposal, especially hidden costs like increased legal exposure and increased bureaucracy for city staff when even a small improvement needs to be made. General law cities are more agile. I've spoken to city employees who've worked in both, and being a charter city makes it more difficult to address process or policy issues and bottlenecks. But tonight I want to focus on housing. The history of charter cities in California is a history of NIMBYs trying to exert local control over housing. That is, to not build housing, privileging the desires of homeowners to have their housing prices go up, while the affordability crisis in California for everyone else is near a breaking point. Now, as we all know, California law has changed so that charter cities no longer can bypass state housing and zoning laws. But what we're hearing is that some on council want to take this action now as an insurance policy in case that protective state law ever changes. Now, why the council would even be discussing this at this point when we have so many more pressing issues that are a reality right now is hard for me to understand. But since that's a discussion, I think it's important to point out the city's track record with local control. Local control always sounds really good, but with local control, the city has not seen a new apartment building built in 40 years. And during that time, housing has become more expensive, less accessible, and increasingly out of reach for many of the people who live and work here. The economics are not complicated. If housing supply is constrained, while demand remains high, rents go up. Not might, not maybe, they go up relative to where they would otherwise be. And when rents rise, the character of a community, which we all want to preserve, does not stay the same. It changes. Longtime renters, especially older residents on fixed incomes, get pushed out. People who grew up here and want to come back find they can't afford to do so. The workforce that keeps the city running is forced farther and farther away from their job. That is not preserving community character. That is reshaping it by exclusion. Please don't use our limited resources now to build an insurance policy for the future that will instead act as a time bomb if it ever comes to pass. Let's focus on the real issues the city faces and focus our energies on getting some housing built. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Goldstein. All right, would anyone else like to make a public comment, or do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Boyles on the first.
Baldino seconds.
Baldino on the second. All those in favor to close the public hearing?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0. All right, council discussion.
Should we go through the 3 items that are in the staff report? Gifts of public funds, city council procedures, employment and compensation. I think there's really
If you'd
one
like.
suggestion. What we have in the staff report is a chart that lays out the differences between a charter and a general law city. There are not very many. One of the areas is gifts of public funds, and the recommendation is the city may want to consider including languages stating the city will be subject to the constitutional ban on gifts of public funds to avoid any use of taxpayer funds that does not serve a municipal purpose as defined by state law. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, does anyone oppose that? No.
All
Yeah,
right.
consensus, continue.
Easy. Quorum requirements, I'm open to discussion if that needs to be included in there. I personally believe that the procedures that we follow now will be the procedures we follow if this ever gets passed, but open to hear any other thoughts.
Anyone have any druthers?
I
Any
mean,
procedural
my
things?
thoughts are about Charter City in general, so I don't really know how to answer this. I mean, I would have no change to how we do things currently. My overarching concern is that 2 years, 4 years, 20 years, right, we could potentially as a city continue to revisit this and it becomes bureaucratic and nitpicky and infighting and unintended consequences. So I don't really know how to answer these procedurally for the purpose of if we were to decide a charter, yes, I'm in agreement and all of those things. I still am a no on our need to do this overall.
The question though, does anybody have, let's say, if it were to go forward, if you were to lose a giant vote and vote of the people, which has to also go to vote of
Preview
the
of coming
people.
attractions.
There we go. No one wants any changes to city council procedures? Does anyone want to take on employment and compensation? I will say I have ideas on it, but we would be mired in meet and confer, and we'd be talking about this for the next 6 years.
I think that's kind of what we discussed last time, was that
Keep it
what
the
we're
same.
trying to do is keep what we have, but have some agility to be able to move. And I think that's what's important. I mean, I know there's some commentary about housing and things like that, but, you know, we've been following this same procedures, so we still have a housing problem. So does that, you know, I don't think that's a rationale necessarily. I think when we have the ability to be, to take a look at things and make changes where we can that make the most sense for the city, I think it's good to have that. So I don't see the negative in this.
Yeah, and to your point, the other areas where a charter city may have some control is not paying prevailing wage. The recommendation is we are going to do that, like all other cities. We are going to comply with elements of the public contract code to have transparency. You know, there's not a lot that's going to change here from the way the city is run, and I think the draft addresses those areas and makes it, you know, it is written in a form where it basically allows us to continue to operate as we are without putting in any roadblocks. So I don't see what listed here in the proposed charter would be subject to like future strife or having to go back to amend the charter.
Well, at any point in the future, right, a different collection of elected officials could elect to change the charter and put it on the ballot yet again. I mean, when you research charter cities, the one that bureaucratically is the worst is the city of LA. Santa Ana is possibly a close second, and I just don't know why our little town would even try to emulate that. So the win for me is not as big as what the potential unintended consequence could be down the road.
Do you think there's a possibility in the future where someone would amend the charter to go to 15 individual ethnically focused districts?
Maybe.
Like the city of LA has? I just think that's, I mean, there's.
Or if
seems like a-
not, there would be a lot of wasted time and effort and energy with any number of ideas of how to amend the charter in the future. I mean, when we go to the ballots today, right, you see a dozen county of LA, and if you lived in city of LA, you would see an equal number of those. I just have no desire for us to be that type of a city.
But we could get that by ballot proposition here anyway. I mean, that could happen now. The same process for amending the charter can happen now by proposition. I just didn't.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
if we don't adopt the charter, it doesn't prohibit future councils from adopting a charter. I like the idea, if we're gonna do it, let's do it with the safety rails we want, so that we're not abusing public funds. We're still paying prevailing wage. Like those little wiggle rooms, I think, that allow a charter city a little bit more flexibility when it comes to finance. I'm okay with the charter saying, we're gonna play by the state rules because those rules are there for a reason and we wanna continue to be transparent.
Absolutely, and at some point, there's gonna be a vote where it's gonna sound like I'm saying, no, I don't want those things included, but really, I'm just saying, I don't see the need for any of this. But yes,
Which
everything
is
that
fine.
you said about,
Right.
about what should be included, if we went down this path, agree, 100%.
Okay.
Business as usual.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with a charter that is drafted with these general guidelines and guardrails, because it doesn't really change what we do. But in theory, a charter city is different than a general law city. We're able to have our own constitution and get together and say, we as a community believe to abide by these rules and these regulations. Does that change anything with housing? No, because the way they pass laws now, any housing regulation says this applies to a general law city as it applies to a charter city. So I appreciate the concern, but I think that we can prepare this in such a way to where it addresses what we want to accomplish and doesn't leave any real ambiguity going forward where people are questioning what does this charter do, what doesn't it do? And the charter, it's here in the agenda packet for anyone to take a look at. It pretty much just states, you know, we possess the power to enact prevailing wage, utilities, public financing, all the things we do as a city now anyway.
Mayor Boyles, or former Mayor Boyles, you were first elected in 2016. In that time, has a single multifamily development application been turned down by the city council?
No, in fact, the first one that had, I think, originally 230 units planned on Pacific Coast Highway, the first time we ever allowed residential zoning on Pacific Coast Highway was approved. The only thing holding that back is capital markets and changing hands potentially, but should still go forward. And it's incredibly difficult to get things done. Even if you have the approvals, you still have to add, in this case, 15% affordable, so call it 35 units, makes it really difficult to pencil. Can I ask a quick question, Mayor Pimentel,
Please
on
do.
the procedure? So as, I missed the first discussion of this, I apologize, but when this goes to the voters to vote on this, is it specifically this charter so that our authority is limited to the extent that's here in the charter, so that if something was changed in the future, it'd have to go back out to the voters? Okay,
That's
thank you
correct,
for
Councilmember.
clarifying.
Further discussion? I have one question, and this is the seductive power of crafting a document. state law requires specific taxes to pass by 2/3 and general law, or general taxes to pass by half. For charter cities, there's some problems with that involving adding transfer taxes, which sort of get around ad valorem requirements. Is there any interest in making general taxes subject to 2/3 of the vote, as well as specific taxes? So right now, general tax is 50 plus 1, like BLT was, Measure C was 50 plus 1. Is there any interest in making it 2/3 on the charter?
I mean,
interested in
this is
talking
like
about
in
this.
real, we didn't even have to jump ahead to like 4 years, 20 years. I mean, this is.
Just asking. Because right now, like, I will use an example because I'm going to beat up on LA County for a second, right? That is being pitched as a tax for healthcare, but it's very cleverly phrased as a general tax. So that sales tax addition will not necessarily go to healthcare. It will go to wherever the county would like to apportion it. So there's a reason those things exist, but you're able to wordsmith around it, and it's subject to abuse. Now, it doesn't have to be 2/3. I mean, 55%, 52%, 53%. But is there any appetite besides Comrade Boyles?
I don't have any, just because, again, my motivation is we're making this change, but we're also going to agree to play by the rules, so.
And that'll be a future discussion then. Oh.
No, I'm on here, I'm on, where to go?
Which bald guy? Okay. Yeah, you got to be more specific on the beard bald guy. Go skinny guy, fat guy.
I'm with the.
Okay. So it sounds like we have generally decided that we want 0 changes from what we have now.
Well, we talked about that first one about public. I don't think that was actually added in the chart.
No.
Gift to public funds.
Yeah, gift to public funds. We
Got
do.
that one.
We want to continue to prohibit.
Okay.
It would, yeah, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, my understanding is that you want that included in the charter to allow the city to prohibit that. 'cause right
That's
now
correct.
It's not in the charter.
Yeah,
so we
allow
would
us to
include that.
prohibit.
Correct.
That's a big one.
That's it.
One item, I don't know if you discussed this last time, but we do have the ability, it looks like, to change the election process for the mayor.
You guys, are
here we
we
go.
joking?
She's
Like,
gonna.
this is what
She's gonna say it. It's
exactly
on there. I was in.
my
Hit him with the
last
gavel,
meeting.
Keldorf. Hit him with the gavel.
By the way, I'm
Hit
never
him with the
running
gavel.
again, so
Hit him with the
this
gavel.
isn't for me, I'm just saying.
No, we don't want to turn this into. We have plenty of neighboring cities that can show us.
I mean, it works
the
for
design.
some cities close by.
I
to us,
just-
including
It does definitely does not
two,
work
Fear
for
the
some other
day
ones.
when this starts to dominate, like, hey, it's an election cycle.
That's right.
Let's throw this in the charter. How
Well,
about
well,
this?
I asked
Let's
because,
put
again,
it
I
on the
wasn't in that
ballot.
last discussion, and you're limiting, I mean, who put this together? Who put together this list?
What we did was take
Yeah.
the general law and just put it into a charter.
Oh, okay, I can live with that, thank you.
No. I just saw that one thing out there, and I sit on this League of Cities taxation thing, and you see all these ways that some cities really like try and work the verbiage. But that's all. Okay, may I have council consensus to provide direction on any changes to the proposed charter, which we just did, and direct staff to schedule a second public hearing for June the 2nd of 2026. Do we have consensus on that? Not approval that you like the charter, just consensus that this process will go ahead for you to tell us no. You don't have to.
No, thank you.
Okay. Do I have 4? Can you have a consensus of 4?
I consent.
Okay, the consent of 4. You have your direction, City Attorney King.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Very well. All right, now on to item 13, the resolution adopting 2 policies. One policy relating to disruption of telephonic or internet service during public meetings required by SB 707, and an administrative policy regarding the conduct of city meetings. Madam Clerk, who will present on this item?
That would be me.
Very well.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council. Agenda item D13 recommends adoption of 2 policies to comply with Senate Bill 707, which updates the Brown Act to expand public participation in City Council meetings. First, the proposed disruption policy establishes procedures for addressing technical issues during meetings. It defines what constitutes a disruption, outlines steps to restore service, allows for a temporary recess if needed, and ensures transparency by documenting any disruptions. This policy is required by state law starting July 1, 2026. Second, The administrative policy updates the conduct of meetings. It establishes a 30-minute public comment period, adjusts individual speaking times based on the number of speakers, and ensures fairness by alternating between in-person and remote speakers. It also includes procedures to address disruptive behavior. There is no fiscal impact associated with this item, and adoption of these policies will ensure compliance with state law while maintaining accessible, transparent, and orderly public meetings. I would like to thank City Hall staff who collaborated to implement these new requirements. This months-long team effort included people from the city manager's office, El Segundo Media, the IT department, the city attorney's office, building maintenance, and of course our city clerk's office. There will be a learning curve, but our departments will continue to work together to transition into the next generation of public participation at city council meetings. And staff recommends that the city council adopt both policies. Thank you very much.
Council discussion.
Madam Clerk, I have a question. Page 168, it says if there is a technological disruption, the city shall remain in recess for at least 1 hour until service is restored, whichever occurs first. Is that part of the statute, that 1 hour obligation?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
That's a gift of Senator Durazo.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
And let me ask this, does that technical thing, and one thing I could not glean from the report, if someone calls into a council meeting from their cell phone and they drive through a dead zone and it keeps cutting out, are we obligated for an hour?
We are not.
I mean, because we have to establish whose fault it is
Whose
first.
fault it is. If the disruption
But
is on
how do
our
we
end.
know, how do we establish that? Or is the presumption of guilt upon the caller?
We will establish that by seeing if our disruptions can happen if the system goes down, if we lose power, of any number of things, but internet connection, we have been assured that it will be rather easy for us to tell on which end this disruption occurred.
I would also highlight that this codifies some of our public comment period.
It does.
So this stipulates a few things, that the longest amount of time anyone could comment is 3 minutes.
It's crazy.
Do we like that? Only 3 minutes?
For up to 10 speakers.
For
That's right.
up to 10 speakers, but it doesn't say if there's only 2 speakers, like, we can't give them 10 minutes. Everybody gets 3 minutes is the most you get.
That is correct.
I think we're really liberal in that department, Mayor, as a city. I know if you go to the city of LA, you get like a minute or
45
two.
seconds,
Crazy. Having said that, I think there's circumstances where people should be allowed more than 3 minutes. It's just discretion of the mayor at the time. I don't think we'd want to limit that.
Would like to invite the Assistant City Attorney to weigh in, but my understanding, pass the buck. My understanding is that by a vote of the City Council, the time limit could be extended for certain circumstances.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, are you referring to page 171, the administrative policy?
Now you're...
The reason I ask is that language says generally from 1 to 3 minutes, which in my mind gives us a little bit of flexibility. I think that might be what you're referring to. It says the time allotted to public comments for agendized items may vary, generally from 1 to 3 minutes per person.
No, oh, unless the council, okay, very well. And then the other piece I had is that it gives very clear bounds on public comment that we are not to allow people to opine on things that are outside the jurisdiction constitutionally of the city of El Segundo. So Jack Axelrod, the great example, if he used to get up here and give us 5 minutes on why we should leave Afghanistan at every meeting, and we would, under this guidance, we would give him one more warning, and if he continues, then we have to eject him.
We have a button right here.
He would weave in a refinery and some other things that were relevant
Yeah,
to our
change the name of the
jurisdiction.
city would come up, but I think that's if we're going to do that, we should probably add that admonition to our public comment cards. Because this has not been a huge issue lately, but there have been times where we have been kneecapped by things that are matters of state prerogative, things that are federal prerogative, things that are United Nations prerogative.
said on the agenda, unless otherwise noted on the agenda, the public can only comment on city-related business that is within the jurisdiction of the city council and/or items listed on the agenda during public
All right,
communications.
there we go. Sounds like we
So,
need to
we're already
gong.
doing that.
We need a gong on that. Honestly, I just didn't know that we could tell them to not do that. I just thought it was public comment, so it's America, talk about what you
I'd
want.
still like that ejection button, though, if we could work on that.
I hope we get those funny guys who show up in Hermosa. All right, well, those were my only questions on that. Does anyone else have any questions? All right. Assistant City Attorney, would you please read the motion by title only?
I would be happy to, Mr. Mayor. A resolution of the City Council of the City of El Segundo, California, adopting two policies, a policy relating to disruption of telephonic or internet service during public meetings required by SB 707, and an administrative policy regarding the conduct of city meetings.
Who would like to move adoption?
Baldino so moves.
Pimentel second? Did I miss
State law,
something?
guys.
Hey, it's state law.
What choice do we have?
All,
in the
all
state
those in
law?
favor?
Aye. Aye.
Mr. Mayor, could you
Aye.
please repeat?
Weird. Baldino on the first, Pimentel on the second. These two voted yes, they just refused to move it. Do you want to say vote no? This one doesn't have the language requirement in it yet. Yeah, there's another Brown Act one that's got all the kinds of complicated language. All right, item 14, resolution designating and updating the preferential parking zone 3. I would like to eject myself for this part, just because I hate talking about parking. The beggar thy neighbor portion of the Director Sassoon, come on down.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. This pilot program.
Director Sassoon, I tell you what, let's take a quick 2-minute bio break for 1 second.
by all
2-minute
means.
bio break. We'll be
Sure.
back. 4 minutes.
4 minutes?
All right, we are back. Director Sassoon, over to you on item 14, our resolution designating and updating preferential parking zone 3.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council. This pilot program was established back in February of 2024, and since then, there has been several revisions that, at the direction of the City Council, we made, and it has come to what appears on the monitor. So at this time, the staff is recommending that we adopt this resolution to make this preferential parking permit program, Zone 3, permanent. I'll be here to answer any question and be more than happy to discuss this further.
Council discussion.
Is there any reason not to make it permanent? Meaning, has there been any issues? I know a lot of it, and I know it's Chief here, a lot of it when we first started looking at this was in consideration of, especially behind the hotels, it become a big crime area, had been a lot of vagrants, had been a lot of, transients in the area, and we wanted to try to kind of get a measure of, if we put this in place, how would it affect crime in that area? Do you have any stats on that?
I don't have stats on the crime, but I do have stats indicating how many citations we've written.
Okay.
When I first got here in April of '24, the pilot had already started being discussed, already was in fruition, if you will. It got implemented in June. Since implementation, it really hasn't been on our radar as a hot area for crime. In 2024, for those 6 months, we wrote the most citations throughout that time. Just to give you the numbers, in 2024, we wrote 196 tickets for 6 months. In 2025, we wrote 108. Year to date, we've written 32 citations total, most of which have come from the 400, 500 block of Indiana.
So it's working then?
I would say so, yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Any other questions about it?
Councilmember Boyles. We have a constituent, as you know, Mr. Sassoon, who's been consistently communicating with you, Mr. George, and Mr. Sassoon ever since we started the pilot about North Mariposa. There's 4 or 5 homes right there that we allowed them to get a reprieve or just, be able to park in front of their homes. And now we're taking that away. And they do get, their concern is they get affected by the people in Illinois or Indiana parking on Mariposa.
Correct.
So I just wonder why if we've considered North Mariposa as well. We're not talking about a lot of homes.
We could, in one of the revisions, if you remember, the north side of Mariposa was included in this Zone 3, and in the last City Council meeting, the City Council decided to take that out, but allowed us to continue with north part of Mariposa to be part of that through the construction. As you remember, back then, we were having some construction going on. And to help the citizens and residents, the City Council was kind enough to instruct us to keep the north part of Mariposa through December of last year, which we did. So starting January of this year, we no longer carry the north side of Mariposa, although yesterday I did receive an email which we shared with the City Council regarding a resident who wanted the north part of Mariposa to be included in Zone 3.
Well, is it that the street's included or that those residents would have the ability to park in the permit zone?
Yeah, those residents, if the City Council decides to add the north part of Mariposa,
I'm saying we can just give them permits without expanding this parking zone to the north side of Mariposa. Because they live in the proximity, it seems to make sense they should too get the opportunity to park and have the same permit without expanding what you're proposing here.
Correct.
We could ask you to expand the permit to the north part of Mariposa and probably Illinois Court, because they're kind of in an island as well. I'm not, to be clear, I'm not saying that those should be with the signs and only permit parking areas. Those streets will remain as they are. Just the people who live there, shouldn't they have the opportunity to get a permit to park on Indiana or Mariposa?
Well, initially, the Zone 3 did not include the residents to the north of Mariposa.
Right.
That was not included. But the city council added that. City council could decide, and you guys give us direction, we'll do whatever that the pleasure of the city council is.
Okay.
But the members or the residents of the Illinois court, they were not part of the petition, nor were the people to the north of Mariposa. They were not part of the petition that started this pilot program altogether.
But like any preferred parking program, the people who petition for it, the effects are certainly felt by the neighbors. That's why it becomes this endless domino of
Correct.
Spreading the woe. Further discussion?
Again, I
This
think
is our annual topic.
I do think it's important to reiterate that the reason for doing this was not to assign parking spaces to public parking spaces to residents. That wasn't the reason for doing this. It was to address a problem that was happening.
Correct.
Okay, and the problem was overnight parking,
Correct.
airport, the things I mentioned before, Turo, all of that. That was what it was meant
Correct.
to do. It was not to say, hey, here's your spot outside of your house to park.
Correct.
Because we have the rest of the city to look at. And
Correct.
my concern, I think Mayor Pro Tem's kind of hits in the middle there as a way to kind of solve that. If there's some individuals over there that are affected in that zone on the north side there that would like to have a permit, that's fine. But I don't think expanding this out is a good move. I think we have a lot of data on this now. I think if there was specific problems with it, it would have come up to where we'd say, okay, maybe we shouldn't do this. I think this is probably our fourth or fifth iteration of this.
Yes, sir.
So there is never, ever, ever going to be an absolutely perfect solution. But let's also remember what this looked like before we put this in play.
Right.
And every time you do a zone like this, it does create a problem somewhere else. But this iteration of it, I think, seems to minimize. So I am for keeping what we already know has worked. And I am not for expanding it, but I am definitely open to considering individuals that were in that area on the north side of Mariposa there that could apply for a permit.
Were any of these properties permitted to be built without on-site parking?
I don't really.
The the residential buildings, no.
No.
Well,
But
I
the
think an apartment
commercial-
may have converted a parking space into an ADU, but I'd have to confer with Michael Allen on that, which, surprisingly or not, is allowable to
You-
take parking.
Yeah, you can do, I know
Your
that there's
garage.
some in the 200 block in Smoky Hollow that have done that. But there's still on-site parking, it's just not double parked. I think it just,
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
You don't have to have any parking when you add units to an apartment building or convert an R2 to an R4. There's no parking requirement.
Right, we can't require any
No.
additional parking.
Yeah.
but at the time these were built, I suspect so. So it could, maybe, there we go. Michael Allen, come on in. And if you want to get a hint from somebody in the crowd over here, you can phone a friend, because I have a question. Do these properties not have on-site parking?
I apologize, Mayor, I missed the first half of the question, but
No,
the properties
so
in
we are
question-
looking, we had a public safety and abusive conduct issue, right, that we abated with a pilot program on parking. The concern is that it is termed to a gift of public funds here, that we're giving public right-of-way to individuals in lieu of on-site parking. And my question is, do any of those properties not have on-site parking for their units?
I probably can't answer with certainty for every single property in these neighborhoods. I would imagine, given the time that these homes and the apartments were built, some complement of parking was required at that time. But the further you go back, it might have only been one parking stall before the city graduated to a two-car garage requirement. But I can't say for certainty that there's not properties in that neighborhood that just don't have any parking or a driveway to park a car. But we could certainly do a windshield survey and verify that to get a more accurate read.
I struggle with the fact that this is our, second year of this pilot program, and we don't have that key data point?
My assumption would be most properties in the city of El Segundo, residential properties, have some complement of parking. Over the last 10 years, some of those parking spaces have been taken up by ADUs. There's still a driveway parking. There was probably never a time in El Segundo that no parking was required, but whether it's one stall outdoor versus one stall with a garage, which graduated to a two-car garage, I can't say for certain. But I can say that there was always a parking stall requirement when residential was developed here. And if not required, historically, parking was sort of market-driven, and there was usually a complement of driveway or garage parking when residential was developed here.
Thank you. Further discussion?
The only thing I'll say to Councilmember Giroux's comment about what's been experienced last year, status quo for these folks, the folks on Mariposa were allowed to park there. Now we're changing that, correct?
In the middle, I think in pilot
Yes,
two,
but
not pilot
they
three.
have been accustomed to it, so I think at the very least, we owe it to Mayor Pro Tem's suggestion of allowing some parking for them, because to think that they're not gonna get affected right there with all that red around them, I think that they should have an ability to park with a permit.
Yeah, we wouldn't expand the zone. We would just say if you're North Mariposa or the Indiana Court, you may apply for a permit to park a few blocks from your house.
So here's the issue I see with that is, does that end literally mid-block of Mariposa between Washington and California? Like where are we expanding that to? And does it just keep going? So that home, I don't know, it feels a little arbitrary, but it is, it's true. I did have another question for Elias too. I know we had one public comment at least about the issue with the 2-hour parking along Indiana. Is that something that you've heard that is been problematic?
No, this is really, tonight was the first time that I remember hearing a resident wanting more hours. 2 hours is what normally all,
We stuck with that because it's a we've debated this a few times. Because that is a commercial side of the street.
Correct.
Then,
yeah.
It actually has come up a few times, Elias, and the reality is there is no one size fits all.
That's right.
We have to make a decision. Do we not want people parking overnight that shouldn't be parking there, or are we going to be inconvenienced by the 2 hour? It's one or the other. It's not both. So that's where I think we've always come up with, okay, let's keep it the way it is, because we'd rather be a little bit more restrictive right now if we're going to do this to abate the issue.
Yeah, let me correct myself. Basically, what I meant to say was, yeah, we discussed that, but no one approached me specifically with having more than 2 hours. No one sent me any email or no one discussed that, but that was discussed at the dais extensively. In fact, I remember when Carol was at the dais, it had to do with the commercial, yes.
Yep, multiple times.
Multiple,
annually.
Yeah, I meant to say no one approached me personally.
Oh, you're missing out. Would anyone like to? You have an amendment.
Yeah,
you would
I'll
like
make
to
a
make.
motion.
Well, we would have to amend, and then he would read, and then we will move.
Okay, cool. But I have a comment. First, thank you, Elias, for all the time you put into this. Like everything you do, you always make yourself available. I appreciate that. Second, I I'm okay with the result that we have, and I understand how it is we got there. As we start looking at expanding permit parking, I would make the ask that we try more incremental steps. And I know the city's first proposal was, we're just gonna have no parking from this time to that time. We're gonna do patrols, we're gonna chalk tires and see how that works. We kind of took control of it. We made it all residential only, and now we are where we are. So I guess my only request is that as we continue to look at the impacts of parking, especially that side next to PCH with Pacific Coast Commons coming on, the other Stickenstein development, that we try to, take what we can from this, but look at other ideas that we could hopefully take and use citywide, because parking is only going to get more and more compacted the more we continue to grow and evolve. But again, thank you for your time. So I would make a motion to amend to keep the same footprint of the preferential parking zone 3 map, but to include permits from half of North Mariposa Avenue from, is that Kansas, to Washington, and then include Indiana Court as permit applicants.
All right. City Attorney, would you like to read that motion, and then we'll see if someone wants to give it a second?
Correct. Mr. Mayor, so my recommendation was the language that was read by the Mayor Pro Tem would be included in Section 5 of the resolution, which authorizes the Public Works Director to issue permits. So we'll add the north side of East Mariposa Avenue between Kansas Street and California Street. Is that correct? Washington, excuse me, Washington, between Kansas and Washington, and then Illinois Court.
Okay,
And-
sorry to beat a dead horse here, but why wouldn't we include, I know there's only 3 homes there, but Washington, if we're including Illinois?
Oh, yeah. You're talking about the north side of Mariposa?
Yeah, just know that little strip Washington heading north.
Is that the 500 block of Washington?
Yeah, I think it's 500. You got Illinois, you got Mariposa, but then you got this little strip of Washington right there that we're.
I think there's only one house that is on that.
I think it's three, Coos Rose, Porkfist.
Oh, you're right,
There's 3, I think.
And you've got the entire east side of Washington by Freedom Park there as well. I mean, I drive by there all the time. I haven't seen a lot of issues in that area, but.
So Mayor Pro Tem, you would opt not to
So
add that
I
to
would
your
keep it
motion
as-
under subsection 5.
As so moved, yeah.
So a resolution of the City Council of the City of El Segundo, California, designating and updating preferential parking zone number 3 and associated hourly restrictions pursuant to Vehicle Code Section 22500 et sec, as amended, is now in front of the City Council.
Mayor Pro Tem is going to move approval on that. Can I put words in your mouth? You're moving on your motion?
Go ahead, Mayor.
You moving your motion? Does he have a second?
I'll second.
Second from Councilmember Giroux to make this permanent. All those in favor? Aye. Any noes? Any abstentions? So it gets it with a milquetoast 5-0. Item 15, the resolution establishing an optional member group for current and retired city council members and electing a Public Employee Medical Hospital Care Act, PEMCA, contribution to California Public Employees Retirement System, CalPERS, medical insurance, and the resolution declaring that the new optional member group shall receive the same benefits as a non-safety group, Police Support Services Employees Association, as required by state law.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the City Council. This item may sound really long and complicated, but it's actually just a housekeeping item. So in 2016, the City Council medical contributions. If the council members wish to participate in CalPERS Health, they can. They can participate as a non-member, or they can participate as an elected optional member through CalPERS. So in 2016, the city tied the contributions for medical for elected officials to a represented employee group, which is PSSEA. And when they tied them to that group for CalPERS purposes, they were actually including elected officials in the PSSEA employee group. So this item tonight, there's two resolutions. The first one is the CalPERS resolution that establishes a separate medical group for elected officials that are CalPERS members that are participating in the CalPERS Health. And the second resolution just maintains the tie to the amount that PSSEA receives per month. Because per state law, the elected officials cannot receive more than a represented employee group. So there's just two resolutions. One is for CalPERS to establish a medical group, and the effective date of that will be June 1st. The other resolution that is the city resolution that maintains the tie of the elected officials to PSSEA. I do need to point out that the effective date in that one, it says May 1st on the bottom of the first page in section 2A. That is effective May 1st, 2026. It would actually be June 1st to match the effective date of the CalPERS PIMCA resolution. I'm available for any questions.
Council questions? Yeah, seems like house cleaning to me. City Attorney, please read both resolutions by title only.
Happy to do so, Mr. Mayor. The first resolution, electing to be subject to Public Employees Medical and Hospital Care Act at an equal amount for employees and annuitants with respect to recognized employee organization, is resolution number 1. Resolution number 2, a resolution establishing a new optional member group for current and retired council members, with such group separate from the Police Support Services Employee Association, and declaring that the new member group shall receive the same benefits as a non-safety group, Police Support Services Employees Association, as required by state law.
All right, we have to take these motions separately to approve. Would anyone like to move approval on the first?
So moved.
Councilmember Keldorf, anyone second?
Second.
Councilmember Drew on the second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, item number 2. Who will move approval?
Baldino so moves.
Pimentel second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, 5-0 on both.
Thank you.
Thank you. There'll be a quiz on that one afterward. Item 16, construction change order presentation for the Uru Sari Swim Stadium, otherwise known as the Plunge Renovation Project. Director Sassoon is throwing his team to the wolves at this time.
We're both going to be here, but Cheryl's going to make that presentation.
Michael's running away.
Please don't eat me alive. Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, members of the City Council. Tonight, I'll be providing an update on the construction change orders for the Uru Sari Swim Stadium, also known as the Plunge Renovation Project. This presentation summarizes the status of change orders to date and the requested next steps to complete the project. So to date, we have over 80 change orders have been initiated on this project, with 63 already approved within the original authorized contingency. These change orders generally fall into 3 categories: unforeseen building conditions, added scope or unforeseen design conditions, and city-initiated improvements. The change orders issued to date are considered necessary and reasonable given the age and condition of the facility, the complexity of the renovation, and the discrepancies between the existing conditions and available documentation. So the largest category of change orders is unforeseen building conditions, totaling approximately $1.26 million to date. These costs are primarily due to discrepancies between the original as-built records and actual field conditions encountered during construction. They are also attributed to the age of the facility and the discovery of conditions that needed to be addressed. And so these items include the replacement of the pool tiles at $695,000, structural modifications related to the as-built inconsistencies, utility and drainage issues, particularly involving aging pipes that required replacement, and concrete spall repairs on the exterior of the building. The second category totals approximately $400,000 and includes added scope and unforeseen design conditions which were necessary to maintain compliance with current building codes. A significant portion of this is related to added scope for SCE transformer in front of the building at $218,000. We had additional costs, including code-related upgrades such as ADA improvements in the locker rooms, additional design details that weren't on the plans that required to be addressed per field conditions that we encountered in the locker room, dealing with the handrails and lighting and HVAC equipment. There was also a change order for relocating the electrical equipment into the inside of the building instead of the outside, which reduced trenching in the back of the facility and was a cost savings of $8,000. The third category is city-initiated improvements totaling approximately $200,000. These included electrical switchgear modifications, locker room improvements that were to the betterment of the facility, like additional mirrors or electrical as shown in this drawing, or in this photo, sorry. We upgraded the lobby display case in the front lobby. There were utility upgrades and also lifeguard equipment upgrades. So at this time, approximately $2 million in change orders have been approved within the funding previously authorized by City Council, which includes the pool tile change order. However, the total change order costs are anticipated to reach approximately $3.35 million, which exceeds staff's authority to approve these change orders. So staff's requesting authorization to approve the remaining change orders, estimated to be approximately $1.35 million to complete the project. We also had construction management services that were extended due to the delay in the project, so approximately $200,000 is required for the construction management services to complete the project. While $1 million was appropriated during fiscal year 2025-26 budget cycle, the approval of the change orders to date has reduced the remaining balance to approximately $600,000, which means that we're requesting $950,000 additional appropriation to finish the project. This presentation has gone before the Subaquatic Committee and the Finance Committee. They've both been briefed on this conversation. Ultimately, a final reconciliation of project costs will be presented to City Council upon filing of the notice completion, and any unspent funds will be returned to the general fund. And that's all I have for you.
Council questions and comments? I got a couple. Figured.
Mr. Chung, can you please give me an accounting from the beginning to the end of what this project has cost? And I'm talking about from the initial, from the design, concept, everything, to with this change order. I'm gonna guess the over-under on this is 19.5. I think I'll take the over, though.
I have actuals. So, Councilmember, in preparation of tonight's meeting, I went back to our financial system as far as back as I could go. It went back to 2021, and I'm just giving you actuals, how much we've spent life to date of this project as of the financial system when I pulled this number today. $17,146,574.57.
Does that include this change?
No.
Okay, so that's
This
an
is
extra.
just actual money.
So this is an extra 3.5, so I took the over and I'm way over, actually. So it's over $20 million for the pool.
I
You
would
said
say
17, they're asking for 3.5. So
that's
For 1.3 in additional change orders.
1.3 in additional change orders. Okay, so we're at 19, so we're about 19.
yes.
And we were also expecting to have a little bit more help to fill the pool in that little delta that we had a problem with earlier on. But I think instead of 5 million, we only have about 2 million. Is that also correct, Mr.
That is-
George?
Yes.
Yes, that's correct. I think you're talking about the capital campaign?
Yep.
I think we've raised about 2.2 million.
2.2, but the goal was 5, and that's what we had planned into the budget, right? We had, because basically what my point is, look, there's nothing we can do. We have to approve the change order. You got to finish the pool, right? But in the end, I think we need to understand exactly how much this ended up costing. It's going to be and I'm guessing this is not the last change order too, by the way. It's going to be a $20 million upgrade. That has put us into a structural deficit. Is that accurate, or am I wrong?
When you mention a structural
Meaning,
deficit, I just wanna make sure.
we're going to be up, we didn't account for this large amount.
Yes,
in
it
our
is
current
coming out
budget.
of our reserves.
It's coming out of our
Yes.
reserves.
It's
So it's
not
not
a deficit, but it is
necessarily a
coming out of our
structure, but we're
reserves, yes.
borrowing.
Yes, and then also on the 5 million donation raise, yes, from what I've been told, it's 2.2 million that we've raised so far. The general fund did fund or loan out the money to the capital fund in anticipation of the 5 million coming back in, so.
But it's not going to come back in.
It hasn't been finalized, but I know
Okay.
they're still working on it, yes.
That's a large number for a small pool.
Good news is, what did we say the useful life of the asset was? 50 years?
Yes, if
Okay,
this
so
facility.
400,000 a year,
Yeah.
you know, divided by $300,000 a day.
At an 85% subsidy.
Further council comments?
She's pretty.
I mean, look, when we were talking about the charter briefly, I know we kind of glossed over the fact that charter cities jump out of prevailing wage at their hazard, because if we do that, the state withholds other kinds of funds. But when people look at this, I think they categorize $19 million of spend is what $19 million looks like in the private sector. But on prevailing wage, a basic metal right gets $71 an hour. A street sweeper gets $96 an hour. So we're obligated to pay extraordinary costs for basic tasks because we're a public entity. So I think that I share both sort of the aghast frustration at the cost of this. Some of these are the strictures in which we work. I do struggle with an unforeseen change being ADA access, which had to be the first thing we knew would be changed. You know, so that's one of those things that is a design element, you know, whomever designed it, and I know we went through 2 to 3 firms, I think, on design on this, the failure to foresee what the ramps would have to look like to come to code is a pretty significant failure. And I would ask if we have any recompense with a firm for how they could miss an elementary detail, considering that's the one thing that retards virtually every improvement. We haven't been able to redo the Jocelyn Center for 20 years because the bathroom ADA requirements make it financially untenable. And that is like the first thing, so I struggle with that. But that's more of a gripe and a hint of if we are going to pull things back at the end as we reconcile costs. So those are some things I think we could look at and say, hey, this was a knowable no, as opposed to the foundation, which you graciously didn't put up there. The fact that when this thing was built, they designed a foundation and built it with less concrete. What can you do? Somebody stole some concrete in 1939 and resold it somewhere, and a lot of it. But that's a pretty significant change order on this that was not covered.
And I think it highlights public facilities are very expensive. While I was not here at the start of this, I mean, my long-term concern has always been the operation and maintenance of this. So my hope is that every change order that did happened with that in mind, because I think our bigger long-term concern is how we make sure that we maintain it to get the full 50 years of useful life.
I think we're all going to love it because it's going to be the last pool we ever see built.
For reference, this I know is school district, not us, but you were on the facilities committee, right? So how much did the middle school gym cost to construct?
Oh, you're testing my memory. Yeah, I was on the Citizen Bond Oversight Committee, which was a $96 million bond, which they only built one new building, and I'm at a loss at what that was for ground up for the new gym at the middle school.
I mean, I feel like it was kind of comparable to a pool.
Yeah, but I'm not surprised by there being change orders. This is an old building. If you try to redesign your house, if it was built in the 40s, you're going to find things
absolutely.
that you didn't know were there, and you're going to have issues bringing up to code. Yes, prevailing wage and the public contract code make things more expensive. It's just kind of the nature of the beast. But I also know that the plunge has been a long conversation in this community about which way we're going to go. I think everyone had their say and kind of expressed their point of view. And once we decided to go in a direction, I think staff really charged ahead on this. I sit on the aquatic subcommittee. We get monthly updates on change orders. There are photographs online where you can see the construction and the progress of the plunge. So is it expensive? Yes. Is it worth it? Absolutely. I think when this opens, it's going to be a gem for our community. It's going to be a benefit for people for years to come. And it's, you know, it's going to be something we can be proud of. So thank you for all your work on it.
One quick comment on this is that before we gave this project the green light, we actually evaluated tearing this thing down and going outdoor. Be interesting to see what that math would have been in comparison, but it doesn't really matter because the public said, no way. We want this to be an indoor facility. We already have an outdoor facility. And what was the vote to approve this?
I think it was 3-2.
Was it that close? Wow.
No, it was 4-1. I was the one.
You were the only one?
I thought
Okay.
Drew was a no, too.
I was the one.
Yeah.
Not because I didn't want to plunge, but because I knew this was going to be a financial disaster, and that's what it's going to end up being.
Well, I hope you're wrong on the financial disaster because we got to make up to your point earlier some of the operating expenses with some revenue programs that actually make sense because
I don't think
a
we
lot of money here.
forecast at the time that we would have so many children in kindergarten and first grade. So when we rent this thing out for birthday parties, it's going to be like Chuck E. Cheese in there.
And we did eliminate Acacia.
Oh, there it is. I was waiting for it. You took one pool, you can't take two. All right. With that sore memory of my beloved Acacia Pool. Do we have consensus to receive and file this presentation?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Would anyone like to make a motion to approve the additional appropriation and change orders and authorize the city manager to execute an amendment with the KOA Corporation?
I will so move.
I'll second.
Baldino on the first, Geldorf on the second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any noes? Nope, 5-0. All right.
Thank you so much. Appreciate your support.
Are we waiting on the county to run any tests in there?
I mean, the LA County's been out for health inspections,
Yep.
but we haven't been finalized with health inspection yet, and so we're still pending on that. We're also in communication with our own building department to start getting out there and doing all the testing and final building sign off.
Is there any delay on that, or they work here?
The thing that we were waiting on, and finally we worked it out with SoCal Gas, was connection to the gas, which we resolved last Friday. So I'm pleased to inform you the gas is connected, and we are testing the heaters, the air conditioning, and everything, including all the ADA, the elevators. Well, we don't call them elevators; we call them lifts. So everything depended on this. So we are working through that, and we think that it's going to be a lovely project.
Thank you very much. All right, item 17. It's time to announce the appointments to the Capital Improvement Program Advisory Committee, the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee, and the Library Board of Trustees. And the first off is that these are things that are gifts of time by our volunteers, so we thank them for that. It is often one of those tasks that you labor at for some esoteric issues, and it is a gift of volunteerism that we are fortunate to have. So the council conducted interviews on March 17th, 2026, and appointed the following new members. The Capital Improvement Program Advisory Committee has Matthew Goldade, Eric Kari, and Shane Smith. Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee has Valerie Green, Marcy Aldana, and Allison Sauer. And the Library Board of Trustees has Tridi Kandabi, and that's it. All right, so thank you to all of them very much. All right.
Smattering of applause.
Yeah.
For a volunteer.
That's right. Per the meeting, you can only not clap during public comment when I have to leave, but you can clap for people who volunteer hours of their time every month. Planning Commission annual update. Director Allen, who will present on this item? Where's Kevin?
I think we're waiting on the planning chair, so if we can swap the next item, which I believe is the senior board, with this item.
I don't see any issue with that, so we'll move down to item 19. Madam Clerk, we'll switch 18 and 19 here. The Senior Citizen Housing Corporation Board annual update and 2026 Park Vista budget adoption. Director Allen, it looks like we have Mr. Whalen here.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members. My name is Tim Whalen. I'm the current president of the El Segundo Senior Citizen Housing Board, and I'm here today to present you with the annual report for Park Vista. All right, a little bit of background, which all of you already know. Park Vista is a senior living facility that abuts Rec Park right by the baseball fields and the inline hockey rink. It's a beautiful facility that provides access to the park and the Jocelyn Center for all the residents. It was built in 1987, and there are 97 residential units there, which are mostly occupied most of the time. There's only about 1 or 2 units that are vacant from meeting to meeting. Rent for new rentals at Park Vista are currently set at 60% of the market rate. So for a 1-bedroom, that means $1,635, and for a studio, it's now $1,295. You'll see a large jump between now and 2022, which was only 4 years ago, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in a little bit. On average, 5 to 7 units turnover a year, and approximately 70% of the 97 units are not paying 50% of market rates, because when they came in, they were at 50% of market rates, and the annual rent raise for existing residents is only about 2% a year. So over the last few years, it has been a 2% rent increase. It's an automatic increase now based on the last time, or a couple times ago, that we were before the city council. That was the instruction, to go ahead and do a 2% rental raise. Right now, there are 75 people on the wait list for Park Vista, so there is no lack of people wanting to live in this beautiful facility. Generally, what was the purpose of Park Vista? According to the board bylaws, it was to provide affordable housing opportunities for El Segundo seniors, and it was to take care of the good and general welfare of senior residents. And the plan of operations for Park Vista said that the purpose was to provide a quality living opportunity at an affordable cost, which I think is echoed by the fact that more than 70% of residents currently pay under 50% of market rental rates. The good news, following an October property condition assessment of Park Vista, the city prepared a 20-year forecast showing Park Vista would be financially stable through 2045. A subcommittee of the board met with Paul Chung and Michael Allen to go through this assessment and to see what that would do from year to year budget-wise in terms of our projected capital expenditures. The catch was that the forecast was conditioned on a continued 2% annual rental raise for current residents, which, as I indicated, is already automatic, and for a continuing annual contribution of $200,000 from the city to the city's 504 Fund for Senior Housing. This was something that was approved last year, and we're asking for it to continue to be approved going forward. We have a couple charts that I'll display in a second, but basically the rub is that without the contributions of the 2% annual rental raise and the $200,000 from the city, Park Vista is operating in the red by 2040, which is fairly far away, but still something to watch. Future challenges, the cost of capital expenditures have gone up. Every time we need to renovate, those renovations get more and more expensive from year to year. When you look at the projection for capital expenditures, there was a few-year buffer period there before the assessment said we needed to start really budgeting for line items, and at that point, it becomes somewhere between $200,000 and $765,000 a year in capital improvements. We try to do a conservative budget and projection whenever we give the budget to the city council, but there are unforeseen costs that seem to hit us every year. One example is that we had to start paying about 50 grand for earthquake insurance, and because of the volatile insurance market, it went up to 60 grand and 70 grand, and from year to year, we're just at sort of beholden to whatever the insurance market says. And also, you know, there's just unexpected costs that come up that aren't earmarked for in the property assessment. So recently we've had to upgrade, or we're planning to upgrade, the security system at Park Vista to make sure the residents are safe, and that was a major overhaul of a pretty much extinct system. So that's gonna cost somewhere about 20 grand, maybe 30, depending on implementation. Over the last few years, the board has recommended that the city charge new tenants 60% of market rates. That next line item should also say 60%, but basically the suggestion from the city is to keep that at 60% of market rates in order to stay within budget. If you look at what the board's marching orders were in terms of how to operate Park Vista from a fiscal perspective, the plan of operations said that Park Vista is supposed to operate off its own rental income and also hold a replacement reserve of 10% of operating expenses plus 2 years of capital. And then just a point, for the first time recently, and it's a little bit anecdotal, we've heard people say at Park Vista meetings, residents, that there are people passing on moving into Park Vista because it's becoming too expensive, even at 60% of market rate. And that, of course, is probably a product of the market rate for rentals in El Segundo as it continues to go up. So here is what the financial outlook looks like if you have the 2% increase in the 200,000 from the city. Nice black numbers on the second half. And then if you do not have the contribution from the city and the 2% market raises, that's when it starts going into the red.
Can you zoom on this? It's not in our staff report. Thank you. You go ahead. Timmy, go ahead.
Oh, me. All right, Request to City Council, stay the course. Continue to raise the current tenant rental rates at 2% a year, which I don't think requires action because it's already an automatic. Continue to charge new tenants 60% of current market rates, and also continue to make the previous contribution of $200,000 to the city's 504 fund for senior housing. And then as sort of an end note there, evaluate from year to year whether Park Vista can provide more affordable housing opportunities by either discontinuing that rental raise or knocking down the current market rate percentage that we're asking of new tenants, basically. Questions?
The 60% of current market rates, is that a localized El Segundo market rate, or is it based on fair market rents for the county or some affordability level?
So it is for El Segundo. The difficulty that the Cadman Group, the manager of the complex, has in sort of comparing Park Vista's rates to comparable rates of comparable facilities is that there just aren't comparable facilities like Park Vista in our neighboring cities. So.
Did I read this table correctly that this year the net income was almost $400,000? It looked like we made changes to the way that we budget for telecommunications, and then there's a significant amount of investment income made. Is that right, that it's $385,000 of net positive for this year?
We did have some good bounces. The Cadman Group was able to save the facility a lot of money by switching internet service providers and phone services. And then apart from that.
Does that money go directly into its reserve?
The LAIF fund for the Park Vista senior housing.
Yeah, it sits in that, the LAIF set aside.
Yes.
I mean, that's a nice unforeseen bounce.
Also, a good bounce was when they did the facilities assessment this last time around. It came back at significantly less than the projected capital expenses from the assessment in 2018 that we had previously been working off of, because in 2018, it was more of a citywide assessment, and this assessment was more tailored to the building. And the projections coming back of what we would have to spend on capital expenditures from year to year was significantly lower.
Given that I assume the inflation on repair and maintenance is faster than what we are going to gain on holding that money in LAIF, are there any capital improvements that we should pull forward?
Make sure the mic is on. It's a good question, Mayor. The board has reviewed the capital improvements that are recommended through the facility assessment. Public Works has taken a look at it. Paul and I and the board have sat down and taken a look at it and are factoring in budget year by budget year. And so this first year, it did not require a budget allocation to tackle any of the major CIP projects that are in the pipeline. But moving forward, there are some significant improvements that will be needed to draw down on that balance. In this first year, it was roughly $47,000 for trip and fall hazards and some other simple improvements that did not require a significant encumbrance of those funds.
But the year's not over yet, so.
Can we change the name to the Plunge Park Vista? So you need Park Vista coming too soon? Other council questions?
Thank you, Tim. Thanks for stepping up. The internet savings, I was actually at that meeting as the prior liaison, and the patience that, was it Spectrum, the guy who came?
Yeah.
Who had to explain over and over, no, you'll still have your phone, you'll still have your Wi-Fi. This is how the internet works, but something that Cadman did do to reduce the overall costs for the tenants. Another example I recall is the state law requiring inspections of balconies. And the law says you can't hire a city inspector from your city, so Neil Cadman found one from Long Beach that instead of charging, tens of thousands of dollars, did it for a very reasonable cost, and it came in pretty well. Your last slide, it seems like if you want us to stay the course, then how do we evaluate reducing the rents? It seems like it's one or the other. Like right now, we're running pretty, I want to say profitable, because we're subsidizing 200 grand plus the incremental rent increase. So I'm just curious, what would we be able to do to make it more affordable and yet still continue to make sure it's properly funded and we have our reserves to make sure the repairs are there?
Right, so that was more of a forward-looking evaluation, right?
Okay.
If we come back at the end of, or in 27 and everything went the way it was supposed to in terms of expenditures for this year, budgeting for this year, and it looks like Park Vista continues to be as profitable, then you can go back and evaluate and say, okay, for 20, 30 years, rental rates were only 50% of market value, and sort of make that assessment then. I didn't necessarily mean now, but going forward in the future.
Okay, great. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Can I ask one last question? I saw that along with some of the other utility pieces in maintenance, was all the savings on the water side? Is that just a result of being able to defer maintenance on? We have budgeted water funds that we did not use. Is that just a matter of us doing the facility evaluation, or is that just the plumbing came in cheaper?
I'll go ahead, Elias. You have an answer?
Yeah, we took another hard look at what was proposed, and we engaged the property manager, and it turns out that we did not have to do that, redo the plumbing, just very small minor repairs that could be done and continue to do as needed. So we felt like that project didn't have to take place, and that's really what happened.
Yeah, so that line item was like 80% under budget. So.
Mayor, I think you're talking about the utility, but I think there was a miscalculation of they were being billed at a commercial rate as opposed to the city's residential rate, and so that's why that adjustment was made.
Ah.
Yeah.
So you don't don't get to take credit for that one.
Thank you.
But Elias did realize a significant, almost $1.2 or $3 million
Yeah.
savings by alleviating the need for the massive plumbing upgrade that was originally planned.
You can take credit for that one then. All right, with that said.
Hold on, Mayor, I have
Nope.
to ask, how long were we charging commercial rates for water?
I think this was a one-off just this last year. It was an adjustment that was made recently, earlier in the year.
Okay.
It could be, yeah, if somebody has last year's budget, it'd be easy to see what the actual spend was, or 2 years ago budget. You could see if they spent more than $20,000, they're probably being paid a commercial rate, or charged a commercial rate. All right, so we have consensus to receive and file that. Would anyone like to move approval of the El Segundo Senior Citizens Housing Corporation Board 2026 operating budget?
So moved.
Keldor for the first.
Second.
Wells on the second. All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0. All right, back to Planning Commission. Michael Allen, who will report on the Planning Commission Annual Update 2026?
We are joined by our chair, Kevin McGuy.
Good evening, Mayor Pimentel and Mayor Pro Tem Baldino and council members. I appreciate your time and appreciate you appointing me to the Planning Commission 2 times. The saying, fool me once, fool me twice. Especially to my Planning Commission brethren here. Thank you, it's nice to see you guys again. So I'm going to give you a brief background on what the Planning Commission has accomplished over the years. And again, I apologize for coming in late. I came in earlier and tried to find my time. I didn't want to see it for 3 hours, but I did come in time to pick up when Director Allen was talking about LAWA energy efforts and issues, and I should inform you guys that I have a new role at Los Angeles World Airports. I'm in charge of the sustainability group, as well as the energy planning and resilience group. So if you guys, I would love to be a conduit between my roles within the city and within our neighbors as much as my roles will allow me to. I'd like to be a conduit and help bridge that gap between the two entities. I also did hear information about the city charter, and I didn't know that was happening, and I think that's great. As someone who lives in a non-city charter area, and someone who works for a city that is a charter city area, I have a lot of opinions on that, so you'll be hearing from me soon. So next slide, please. So just a bit of background. I think you guys all know what the Planning Commission does. This is made up of 5 residents within El Segundo that you guys appoint, and currently it's myself, Mario Inga, Mark Christian, Melissa McCarthy, and Steve Taylor. It's a new group. There's no, Brenda's not there anymore, or, oh my gosh, and Jay's not there anymore. So yeah, it's turnover new group, but it's a new group, and we're all very excited, and we're all very passionate about what we're doing. And you guys understand what our role is, right? We have kind of 4 core things that we do. We affirm director decisions on different types of projects, and then we make decisions on specific land use projects. And then we also make recommendations to the council on kind of the bigger, broader projects. So it comes through us before it comes to you guys. And we also provide guidance and direction for staff as needed. Next slide, please. So these are the things that we've completed in the past year. We've done 5 study sessions. With study sessions, they're the longer meetings, of course, but they're also the funnest ones where we can kind of speak freely and give our opinions about things. And I'm not going to go through each one individually. I'm just going to give kind of some of the highlights that I think are neat. So the first one, a lot of it was, I guess, consolidating and aligning with SB1. The SB1, I'm sorry, with the state rules. We had to backtrack some things. We kind of went a little forward making rules, and we had to kind of realign with them as things went by. And then we did the innovative startup at Smoky Hollow, which is a great thing to do. We always want that place to be kind of this innovation center and a startup kind of place, but we have to have some guardrails around it, right? We don't want too many hazardous materials, and we don't want explosive materials, so we had to kind of put like I said, put some guardrails around it. And then we did the Vision 2050, and we worked on the parking requirements, and then the annual community meetings regarding the housing element. The housing element, of course, is very important all the time in El Segundo because of all of our new development. We also have to keep up with the state requirements. Next slide, please. And then we did, sorry. And then we did update we did amend the city El Segundo South Campus specific plan, which is a neat thing. That's a commons, Charters Commons area. So we wanted to make it more flexible for people to come in. It's a vibrant area right now with a lot of great restaurants, but we wanted to make it even more flexible for the spaces that aren't being maximized. And then we affirmed the director's determination on parking standards for different development projects, because parking, of course, is an issue in El Segundo, and we wanted to make it more consistent throughout the city. And then we did 6 zone text amendments. And again, similar to what I mentioned before, the first one is to ensure that we're in compliance with state laws, specifically with new housing laws coming in. We had to kind of pull back a little bit and redo some of the things that we did. Another interesting thing we did here was that in the zone text amendments was updating the cultural development ordinance. How it was before is a certain percentage the entire time. So the bigger the project, the bigger contribution you had. And we kind of came to the realization that it was a little bit of, there's some sort of diminishing returns, right? If you have a $10 million project and you're committing some percentage of that versus a $100 million project, we wanted to scale that back to not make it prohibitive from investing into our community. Next slide, please. I'll just go from here. So we approved some major development projects, including the Sparks Center. And this is, to me, this is a great project because it's going down Rosecrans. It's kind of an introduction to our city. And right there, there's nothing there. You see the point, you see some buildings and some restaurants, and you see the blank space and then the point. And it was very important to put something meaningful there. And we think that having a sports team, women's sports teams there would be a fantastic way to introduce people that are coming into our city, coming from Rosecrans and turning right, going into, like, if they're going to Topgolf, they'll go see that. And I'm also excited about this because they're very excited about contributing to the community. They have a lot of programs in place for youth sports and women's sports. And for me, that's music to my ears. So we always try to tell people, like, we don't want you to be in our community. We want you to be part of our community. So this is, like, to me, this is like one of the great new projects that are coming to our city. And they've broken ground already. I'm sure you guys have seen it. So, next slide. And this is the downtown mixed use Richmond Flagons is down on Richmond Street. This took a while to move. They've gone through a number of different iterations. And I think that this iteration, if you can see I remember one of my first meetings that the Planning Commission was, where it was this project, figuring out what to do with the old jail right there. So it's integrated into the design. It's in the mix of modern and new, and I think this is a great project to kind of, and that corner is already vitalized, but to make it a little more exciting. So, next slide. And this is the project too. Like we do like our sports here in El Segundo, and we're making use in Smoky Hollow. So there's this one. I think the next slide is another golf performance center. But yeah, there's a lot of new things happening. And this one, I wanted to point out this project because in Smoky Hollow we don't like these cut-ins into the sidewalk. We were trying to get away from those to make it more walkable. But because this is such a narrow design that we had no choice to make the parking one way in and one way out. So we didn't have to go park in and then back all the way out through such a narrow project. And that shows our flexibility to businesses and things like that. And this is another beautiful building. So all the new Smoky Hollow buildings are absolutely beautiful. And
where is that?
What's the exact address? 117, no.
Thanks. Was it 1 or
Yeah.
200? Oh, there we go. No, there we go. Now we.
Yeah. But so if you can see, the lot is very, very narrow, right? And we don't want these cut-ins into the sidewalk. So, but we had to make sure that we can fill this area in, or otherwise it'd be very difficult to fill it in.
Kevin, did they choose to put that elevator on
The
top
elevator. Did they choose to do it?
Yeah, okay. They need to learn from my lesson, $80,000. They need to enclose that thing for weather.
Oh, the rooftop?
The entire rooftop for weather?
The elevator shaft area.
Oh, okay.
We'll let them know.
That doesn't have to go back to planning.
No.
So, and then this is another golf studio. Again, we like our sports here in El Segundo. We like to have and the two golf studios actually that they're they're very high-end golf training centers. They're not party places. They're people will go to really work on their game. So we like a mix of those kinds of things, and funner places as well. But yeah, we're really happy to see these types of projects come in. And then we've done administrative use permits, which are always great. They add to the community. The ones in downtown specifically, we expanded Jame's liquor license, which is Jame's a great part of our community. But then Barsha's a new restaurant. They've had restaurants in Hermosa and Manhattan. To have them come in, serve wine and snacks is a great thing. I think that the building that they're in next to the Pilates studio is fantastic because that brick building just says wine bar to people, right? And then the 3 restaurants east of PCH, one notable one was Bloom. You guys are familiar with Bloom? It's the florist, and they have home goods and wine. So they call it, I think it's Beautiful Flowers, Bottles, and Home. They say much better than I do, but it's a great place, and they're excited to be able to serve some wine and snacks there because as a small business, I've talked to them a lot personally, where they don't rely on big sales. They want foot traffic to come in every day and buy different things, and having be able to have a glass of wine there is great for that kind of come in, walk away business. It's a vibrant little area, and people, if they want to look at flowers, and they can get a glass of wine while they're doing it. And of course, the Chargers Lounge, that was a funny one when they came in. They just wanted the front area, and several of us on the planning bench were like, why don't you just do the whole area? We wouldn't want you to come back later and say, oh, we want this area too. So, and then other projects as well, including a 7-Eleven. And that's it. Thank you again, you guys, for helping me contribute to our community and putting a good team together on the Planning Commission. Any questions?
Council questions and comments?
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you for your time and your commitment. Appreciate you volunteering and giving back to the city.
Thank
and
you.
now that you volunteered the whole lava thing,
Yeah, well,
look out, buddy.
as much as I can help. All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right. Fleeing on foot. Okay. Do we have consensus to receive and file?
Yes.
Yes.
There we go. All right, moving on. Oh, we're all the way through to reports. Madam Clerk.
I had the pleasure of attending the South Bay City's Council of Governments General Assembly on March 26th, at which Councilmember Keldorf did an amazing job. She was representing our city as a participant on the mayor's panel, and that was wonderful. I am going with Lily. We are attending our annual conference next week for California Municipal Clerks Association, and because it's Clerks Week, I want to give a shout out to my team. They really are the most amazing people, and myself excluded, but the staff from the City Clerk's Department really is the heart and soul of City Hall. You heard it here first, folks. So, thank you, that's it.
Councilmember Keldorf.
It's good to be back. Nothing for me.
Councilmember Drew.
Yes, I'd actually like to consider putting on a future agenda a discussion on CCBs, and let me preface this by saying it's for 2 reasons. Number one, we've conducted a lot of interviews over the past month or so, and we are getting candidates that are incredible. And I think just the volume of people who are new to the community or coming in that want to participate, and we really want to try to get them involved. And the struggle with that sometimes is that there's not spaces. So I would like to, kind of talk through that a little bit as to how to create some spaces. The second being from a letter that's, again, a letter that came into all of us, so it's public record, from an outgoing board member that really expresses some frustrations that they have with serving on these boards. And I think part of that is I think we need to be able to set what the expectation and role actually is, meaning that these are advisory positions. We understand how much time you're putting into it and things like that, but in the end, it seems that in some cases, maybe there's not a clear distinction about what their role actually is, and I think it's important for us to be able to do that. I'd also like to consider, kind of to the first point, term limits per board, meaning that, you know, a couple of, whatever it might be, maybe you do it a couple of times and move on to something else, allow people to kind of come in who are qualified and want to participate. And I also think that the chairmanship on a lot of these boards should rotate. And I think these are things that are not written in, but I think it'd be important for us to take a look at whether or not that would be viable, whether that would be helpful, or whether I'm just blowing smoke. But I think it's important to have those conversations. Any objection?
None here. I think it's super valid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we'd have to look at all the bylaws. I think that's how we have to do it, but yeah, happy to have a conversation.
Agreed. Thank you.
Councilmember Boyles.
Nothing this evening.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes, from the Aquatic Subcommittee, the grand opening day of the plunge is still June 6th. So there will be a ceremony, and then after that, there will be an opportunity for a free swim in the plunge. You'll be giving a ticket from the Parks and Rec Department. There'll be a flyer that goes out. You can sign up at esrec.org if you want to be one of the first people at the plunge. Our Aquatic Center will be closed June 1st through 6th for some maintenance. And as an update of who we can look forward to using our facility from the Olympics, I've been told we have interest from Great Britain, from Team USA, Team France, Team Australia, and Team Germany. I'm also told to ask, we are still actively hiring lifeguards. So if you have someone in town looking for a great part-time job, Parks and Rec would love to train you to be a lifeguard. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I will follow up in such harem-scarum order here. We already touched on Diane Fort's return for Edison. That should be valuable for us. We've asked her to share with us a distribution map of how power is distributed around the city. As it stands now, it's oftentimes affects realty decisions in manners that we don't fully grasp. But also now we have clearly a second thing to talk to her about. Also, we will have the State Parks Department down at the end of next week to talk about the conditions we have on El Segundo Beach as it extends between that and Dockweiler, given our continued issues with quality of life pieces there. We were up in Marina Del Rey for Climate Week, specifically around some of the climate technologies, and the state weather team came down and showed some of the applications they are using AI for, and it's both predictive and retrospective analytics on how rainfall comes in and how it's drastically changes some of the way they interpret old data just because they have so much more information they can pile into the system, and how the different ways that they use things to predict off the El Nino and La Nina based upon that, which I found completely fascinating. And oddly, did not seem as terrifying as most of the future-facing weather predictions that we get. We'll have Defense Tech Forum here next week. The Lithuanians are coming. The Ukrainians canceled this week. We had a meeting with an LA28's new government affairs rep and just pointedly asked for a organizational chart of who's in charge. And I don't say that flippantly. The hard part is that it is run as a series of partnerships, which gives me great pause. So LA28 gives a series of requirements for transportation, and its Metro is tasked with matching those. But there's not an executive function between the two that delineates it. Metro just sort of builds a plan. We'll get buses and build transportation around the Olympics. And in theory, we'll then present a bill to LA28 for here's how much this costs. And then I asked, well, what happens when LA28 rolls up, turns the lights out? If they haven't paid it, then what happens? Then it becomes the city of LA's problem. And I have a feeling once it becomes the city of LA's problem, it will become all of our problem. So I asked that, and then on the security side and the economic development side, those are all being handled, again, as partnerships with theoretically LA28 with its staff and Krikorian things acting as organizational elements, but an organizational element without executive authority over the other ones. So I presume that's going to add some complications as we continue to get closer. But we'll get a test drive on a lot of that for FIFA. Transportation Committee for the South Bay COG. Elias graciously backed me up there when we were approving a series of both new projects and new phases of old projects, and we've asked the COG to establish a program where if you are asking for more money for a project that is still in the same phase, so you're asking for something on design, because we're seeing ones that were scoped at $1.5 million for design, and they're asking for $4 million more for it, and they're still in the same phase. And then you'll look, and the project was originated in like 2018. So the COG did not have anything in its bylaws to be able to review those projects and ask people for status on them or decline funding. It was somewhat contentious, but I think in the name of being fiduciaries, that's important. We'll be hosting events next week, or the coming weeks at PCT, which is good as we look to fill that thing up. Councilmember Keldorf and I met with the Hungarian consulate for LA 28. That was awesome. Then they had an election, so we don't know if we're talking to the right people, but it'd be sweet. They came here. Joke's on us. Surprise. Nothing to report on sanitation. I know you guys are all bummed. The state treasurer was down last week on an impromptu visit for Faraday Futures, which is opening up a research and design facility on East Mariposa. Just always neat to see state representatives come here. And the governor of Michigan is coming to visit and ask us how we do it here in a couple weeks. So yeah, just May 5th. So mark your calendars. In that morning, the governor of Michigan, as they look to revitalize their economy, have a lot of questions like, how did you guys do it? To which I will give the recon salute. And with that, city attorney.
Nothing to report, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Just briefly, a little update on Hyperion and a few other AQMD matters. Our environmental committee chair and environmental programs manager did attend the Hyperion Advanced Water Purification Facility ribbon cutting on April 1st. As you know, this facility will produce high-quality recycled water for LAX to offset potable water use. We also had a very well-attended paper shredding, e-waste collection, and compost giveaway.
By the way, I don't want to overstate, LAX, for all the things it's easy to make fun of with their train, is rapidly progressing to a net zero on energy and an incredibly efficient on water use, particularly on cooling.
Absolutely. Yes, so our e-waste collection and compost giveaway event this past Saturday at the Public Works Yard. Just to let folks know the remaining finished compost is currently available at Rec Park, adjacent to Brett Field. AQMD did report to us today that over the past 4 weeks, they received approximately 23 odor complaints, but none warranted a notice of violation at that point because they were not able to confirm the odors with a sufficient number of complainants on any one day. And if you remember, it's an interesting way that they deal with that. And then on May 14th, Hyperion will be hosting a community forum at our public library down in the Sue Carter Room from 6 to 7 p.m. We've posted this online as well as on our social media accounts. And then the March edition of the Hyperion Pipeline newsletter was released via email on April 3rd. This includes results from an early 2025 community survey and details on the new water purification facility. And then finally, as you know, the South Bay Housing Trust Fund has been established. Their first meeting is coming up, I believe, April 30th. And Mike, our community development director, along with Torrance's community development director, have been selected to be the housing experts to help the board. And I believe Council Member Keldorf is the serving board member and the alternate. So that's it. Thank you.
One last plug. Can we make sure we put out a refresh to let people know El Segundo Connect is out there? I feel like suddenly we're getting a rash of quality of life things that can be put right into the system. All right, and with that, we are adjourned.